Hello and welcome back to the Depot Show, where this week we're not going to talk about anything. Isn't that right, Mr. Lightning?
That is correct, Mr. 550. We are not going to be
Wow.
talking about anything in particular.
No,
It's
we are
just going to be
not.
what it is.
This is going to be a chill episode. Me and
Yeah.
EXO have not really talked since New Year's, so the first thing to say is Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. How are you?
I am doing very well, although I will say that my legs right now are in so much pain.
Why are your legs in pain?
I think I pulled a muscle in like the lower half of my leg, just above my ankle,
Ooh.
because I've been doing this new exercise regime.
Well, there's your first problem.
Yes, I'm exercising. I know
Yeah.
that is a problem, but yeah. So I've been running more, and I like during January, I've just like injured myself more and more. So this
Ooh.
weekend, I am taking the weekend off.
I don't blame you, man. Like you shouldn't push yourself. I mean, I try not to push myself with these sort of things, which is why I don't do any sort of running. Yeah, I got nothing with that. I just don't do it. I've been meaning to, man. You actually convinced me partially that I should try it and get more on it, but I didn't. Is the short answer. It's really hard,
No,
all right.
I know. I think the hardest part for me is just like dedicating that much time to
Hmm.
like doing it. But I'm totally glad that I started kind of a year ago and just kind of kept up with it
Yeah.
because yeah, I've been doing really well for myself, but it's so hard to kind of like even now that I've been doing it for so long, it's still really difficult for me to kind of keep on top of what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you can run a few hundred meters without being like dead, though, right?
I don't know, can I?
Ah, because that's where I struggle.
Well, I'll tell you what, right? So I was talking to you about this the other day, but uh, one day in the gym last week, or like the other week,
Mhm.
I accidentally ran 10k,
Oh, yeah, you did mention this on a message. Yeah.
and the reason I accidentally ran 10k
Hmm.
was that I usually like listen to music and try and drown out the world. And like normally I have this cue in the back of my mind of like counting how many songs go by as I'm running. And I know like usually I try and do about 8 songs or something. And I know that that's like 5 or 6k. Um,
Like,
depending on the length of the song and
I
depending
was about
on
to say it's a very accurate measurement.
yeah, it's not very accurate, but um, basically what happened was that I lost track of like how many songs I actually ran to, and then when my brain like finally clicked back into gear of like you've been running for a very long time, maybe you should like check how much mileage you've done. And then I looked at like how much mileage I actually did, and it was at like 9k. I was just like, well, I've got to do another k, right? Just to get to that nice round number.
Well, and then you hurt yourself.
I did.
There you go. Nah,
Yeah, but basically what I've been doing is trying to go to the gym Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then trying to do a bit of outdoor running on Saturdays.
that's like 4 days a week, man.
Yeah,
Oof.
tell me about it.
No, man, I'm just glad that if it works for you, man, it works for you.
Yeah, it's been working really well for me. As I said, I've been doing it for like 8 9 months now. I've lost like so much weight.
Man, I see. I'm not worried about losing weight. I just. Problem is that with me, if I run at all, I like am dying for the next like half an hour trying to like recover. That's
Yeah, you see,
my cardio. Yeah.
yeah, that was like one of my main problems. like when I first started running, is that I could like run for a long time, but then I would be dead for a
Yeah.
long time. But basically, I think what I learned very slowly is that you have to kind of run and then like back off. Like when you first start, you need to like do this thing of like walking, jogging, running, walking, jogging, running for like a long time. Like
Yeah.
going from one state to another state to another state and then back, and then building yourself back up and then go back to walking. Because like if you just try and do too much too soon,
Yeah. Yeah.
then you'll just hurt yourself.
Yep. Like I say, it's something. It's not a New Year's resolution or something, but it is something I want to do, get better at this year. So,
I hope all the best. It's really fun. Like if you can actually get past the first like couple of months, I think like the first 6 to 8 weeks is pure hell. But like as soon as you like crest that eight weeks, it becomes a lot of fun.
man, I'm glad. That's kind of how I describe StarCraft to people, though. I'm just like, once you can get past the hurdle, it's amazing.
Yeah. Once you get past like that learning phase of like how to actually do it properly, like it actually gets a lot of fun. But like getting there is like a hell of a lot of pain. And like I'm learning once you're there, you can still injure yourself quite a lot.
Yeah, that's the other crazy thing about it, isn't it? Like, and I hate it because I don't want to be one of those people who's like, well, I don't injure myself, so it's better than not exercising at all. But it's such an easy excuse, man.
I know. Tell me about it.
Oh man.
So, how have you been this New Year's?
Yeah. It's been same old, same old. Nothing. I think from our past conversations, especially on the Depot show, I don't think anything major has changed. I'm still going to LAN. I don't know if I mentioned that last time. If that was like set in stone. I'm going to Epic LAN this February, coming up very soon. I'm going to be playing StarCraft there. I'm going to lose pretty badly. Looking forward to that. And yeah, still working my odd job with really odd hours, still losing sleep, and still really tired. I've been taking. Oh, I'll tell you what, something I don't know if I was doing this from last time. I've been taking that Barocca shit.
Barocca shit. What?
Barocca is a product. It's like it's not vitamins. It's
Oh right, okay.
It's like some sort of weird pep up thing. It's like vitamin B. Oh no, there is vitamins in it. So it's a vitamin. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's got like B12 or something in it, but it's like one of those things that they recommend to take daily, and like keeps you energized. But if I take more than like one a day for 2 days in a row, I can't sleep. So it definitely does something.
So it's like an energy pill?
Yeah, it's a food supplement as well, but it's not to
okay.
replace. So it's kind of like that. I've been trying to balance that out with my diet to like have, because in the winter, man, I'm just like dead to the world. Like seasonal. What's that thing? Sad, seasonal.
Yeah, seasonal depression.
Yeah, something like that. There's an A in the middle there, but so yeah, it's been helping with that, and that's been like genuinely made me a lot more productive, and managed to like get me out going to work and stuff.
Oh man, I've been so like one thing I tried this week actually, because I've been noticing when I'm getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
So like I usually get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Fair start.
And
Fair start.
yeah, it's fair start. Like get up, listen to the radio for like 10 minutes, get in a shower, and then go to work. And then I usually get into work about 8, half 8 or something, right?
Yeah.
But like recently I've been starting to feel like really groggy, especially at like the tail end of the week.
Okay.
So this week, so I've been feeling really groggy like 9 to like 11, which is usually like productive hours for me. So I'm kind of
mid-morning, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like losing productive time. So I've actually like try to set myself like this week of actually waking up an hour earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, so like 5 a.m. to like get past the grogginess earlier.
I love that logic. That's a
And
good idea.
it actually worked. Like
Wow.
I've been getting like so much more productive at the tail end of the week just by like forcing myself out of bed an hour earlier. Crazy.
You're a madman. That's I don't think that's the first place I would have gone with it.
I
In
know.
all,
Oh man. Yeah, I was so this actually came from a book that I've been listening to, an audiobook, right?
yeah.
And to be honest, I got it just because I've got a subscription to Audible, and
Uh-huh.
I had like 5 credits or something, and if you go over 5 credits, they don't. They'll give
Stack.
you a credit, but they'll also take a credit away from you, so your credits don't get out of hand.
Yeah, yeah. You can't just like stash.
Yeah, you can't just keep on like hoarding all of the credits. So
Hmm.
I had like 5 credits to like spend on whatever. I found like this book called How to Stop Feeling So Goddamn Depressed, right?
Nice.
And I was just like,
To the point.
yeah. I was just like, well, I don't feel depressed, but like this would be cool, like a self-help book. I don't normally like read these things. Don't normally like listen to these sorts of things. But like I was listening to it, and like a lot of like what this guy said like made a lot of sense to me. And basically what he was saying is like like obviously like you have to do this slowly and with care and attention and things, and you know you can't cut all of these things out all of the time. But he was basically like cut like all the shit out of your life, like cut sugars, cut
Oh yeah.
like chocolate, cut alcohol out, you know, all of this bad stuff. And I think like the most recent chapter was like um you should get yourself more prepared in the mornings. So like wake
Okay.
up earlier than you think you should to get yourself in a state where you can like get ready for the day faster.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking try this guy's advice.
Nah, I respect that, man. Like, the two things I have to say about that right quickly is one, the sugar thing. I will completely agree. I'm like borderline conspiracy theorist on sugar nowadays. Like, and I'm bad for it still. Like, I still eat loads of chocolate, but like, I agree that when you cut that out, like before the new year, before Christmas, and the new year, I was doing really well, and I was like not having any kind of chocolate unless it was like a real occasional sort of thing.
Mm.
And now I've been just absolutely eating the chocolate. And like I say, I'm in a much more like lower energy state. So I completely agree with that one. Also, with the getting out of bed in the mornings thing, I don't know if this will work for you, but this works wonders for me when I remember to do it. And that is to get up as soon as you wake up and then splash water on your face. Do the old sink slap.
So yeah, I haven't tried the water splash thing.
Mhm.
Excuse me, but I have tried like the get up when you wake up. That is a
Yeah.
huge problem for me because like I wake up and just like like I was
Lay in bed.
really, yeah, I was really bad for
Yeah.
this like 3 months ago. I just like lay in bed, and I'd lay in bed for like 3/4 of an hour or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, recently is like not so much weekends because like I feel like weekends I can just lay in bed and do whatever, but
Yeah.
weekdays, like when I actually need to be productive, it's like get like I have like an alarm on my Google Home where I'm
Okay.
just, and I have this keyword. I can't say the keyword, but it's smart thing. I'm awake, and it turns on my light and then plays the radio at like a really annoying level of sound to basically
Oh,
get me out of bed.
damn. I just put my phone across the room with the
That
alarm
is
on.
another thing that I've started
Ah,
doing is like pushing like all the things that kept me in bed, so my phone, my
yep.
laptop, like as far away as from me so that I can't reach over and like just scroll through Reddit for like half an
Yeah.
hour. It's just like so that when I wake up, I physically have to get out of bed to like
To do anything.
Yeah, to do anything because like
Yeah.
it's the whole thing of like if it's there, then you're going to do it.
Yeah, I should do that with my tablet actually, because I do it with my phone already. But I use YouTube with a tablet with a little kickstand that I have for it. It's
Yeah.
like on my bed. I should do that. I should like put that somewhere slightly out of reach, and then let the last video that I want to watch like play in an evening. And then when I wake up, I won't be able to like just switch it on.
Yeah,
Good point.
it works wonders, I swear, because like
Yeah.
after like if you've got nothing to do in bed, then it's like really uninteresting to kind of lie there for like an hour. So
Yeah.
you know, you're kind of like wanting to get out of bed at that point.
Yeah.
So
Nah,
there
respect
you
for
go,
that,
life
man.
hacked. We did it. We solved
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting up at 5. To be fair, I would love. I used to do this as a kid, and I would love to go back to it, but my job makes this really difficult because I work very odd hours. Or occasionally I work very odd hours. But when I was a kid, I used to get up like an hour or an hour and a half before I need to do anything, and then I would like have like a little game project that I was working on, like whether it was like like running Metal Gear Solid 3 and like seeing how far I could get in the morning, like before I had to then start getting ready, or
That's pretty
something
cool.
stupid like that.
Yeah. So
But it was. Oh, go on.
sorry, when I've been like waking up in the morning at like 5 o'clock, I like try and reward myself a little bit. So like I get out of bed, I turn on my PC, play like 1-2 games of StarCraft or something because like
Ah, nice. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like an hour. Like I don't need to do anything for like an hour. Like I could
Yeah.
hop in the like normally I get up, play a couple of games of StarCraft like while my house is heating up, and then I
Yeah,
hop
yeah.
in the shower and then like play another game of StarCraft and then just head out because like you know it's like an
Man.
hour and a half before I actually need to leave my
Need
house,
to-
so
yeah.
it gives me plenty of time to do shit in the morning. And as I say, like when I get in to work in the morning, like I'm feeling more alert. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I can face the day better. Like the other day, something that I haven't done in years, which is actually eat breakfast.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of like, and I'm gonna continue this, I think, and just see how, like, I think from like Wednesday onwards, I'm not sure about Monday and Tuesday because normally, like, at the start of the week, you're not as bad as the tail end of the week, but I'll see how
Yeah.
it goes.
Wait, so just to confirm, does that mean that midway through the week or for the latter half of the week, you're actually stopping eating breakfast or starting to eat
No,
breakfast?
sorry. So the latter half of the week, I'm just going to wake up at 5, and then like
Oh, okay,
be
yeah, yeah.
more productive that way.
Nice.
Like
I might-
Monday, Tuesday, I'll probably just stick to like a 6 a.m.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
I might try something like that. What I will say, and this happens semi-regularly, and I feel bad when it does happen because it's more of a personal thing than it is to anybody at my works. But what I will sometimes do is, in order to not be late, because I've either overslept or just lazed in bed for too long, in order to not be late, I will skip having a shower and a shave. Like I'm not like horribly smelling or anything like that. It's not like I'm bad for that, but I feel so much worse in myself
Oh yeah,
being
yeah,
at work and not having known that I haven't showered in the morning, and then I'm more self-conscious about it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
I've done that in the past. Like I've woken up so late that like I can't have a shower because I know if I have a shower, that will make me like ridiculously late for work.
yeah.
I just can't have that. So,
But to be fair, oh, go on.
no, I was just going to say I agree with you. You kind of sit in there, and in the back of your mind is like, you haven't showered today.
Yeah. To be fair, my boss is actually pretty chill, and obviously understands that I do weird hours. So she's pretty good. Where if I message her saying I'm gonna start an hour late this morning, I'll make up the time. Like she's pretty cool with it. So yeah, but there was some morning where I've done that, and it feels awful, especially when I haven't shaved because. Man, I'm 25, but I have like bum fluff kind of.
Mate, I'm 20.
Beard.
I'm 27, and I still have that. Like,
So
but,
yeah,
like,
if
yeah,
I haven't
don't-
shaved
don't
over the
mind
weekend, it's
too much
awful.
about shaving because like I can't really grow a beard, but like what I can grow, it doesn't bother me. But at
Oh,
this stage where I'm at, like kind of bushy is just like, oh man, it annoys me so much because like it scratches against my skin and stuff. So I'll probably have to
man,
shave
I
in the
think
next couple of days.
I can barely tell that whether I have it or not. Like it doesn't generally bother me, but it's like when I look in a mirror and I'm just like it's like this weird kind of like you can just tell that it's not like when someone's starting to grow a beard, and it's not when someone's got stubble because they haven't shaved in a few days. It's just like this is like it's a really weird thing for me. I can't quite describe it, but
Need
I'm
more
very self.
testosterone. That's what we need.
Ah,
I'm such a
ah,
man.
it's all that soy I've been eating. Ah.
Oh man. So talking about New Year's resolutions, I know that
Oh,
we
okay, okay.
aren't talking about that, but talking about New
Good
Year's
segue.
talking about New Year's resolutions, I
Yeah,
set myself one this year.
you're
Um,
brave.
I am, but basically what I said to myself is that I'll try it out for January, and
Hmm.
if it doesn't work out, then like I'll probably like half-ass it, or I'll just like cut it out because obviously like if I can't stick to it for like a month, then whatever. But
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have restricted my diet into non-meat based products. That's right. I have become a vegetarian.
Jory, you're so brave. I I hate to say, God damn it, you're so ahead of me. I think every time I'm like, I want to start running. I want to eat healthy. I'm like, fuck, Jory's doing it all, man. God damn it.
I'm sorry.
Nah, it's good, man. Did you see that study thing that came out the other day, which was that for a more sustainable world and healthy diet, we should be eating twice as much plant-based foods and half as much red meat?
I haven't seen the study, but I've seen a lot of like science
And
chatter
oh yeah.
recently, and
Mm.
basically what made me do this is more the environmental arguments
Yeah,
against
fair.
animal, uh, like meat and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like obviously eating meat like it costs like a lot because you have to like grow the animal, you have to feed the animal, then you have to
Yep.
kill the animal, then you have to
Hmm.
like ship the animal. Like
Yeah, there's a lot of parts to it.
yeah, whereas plants and stuff it's just like you buy the seeds, you plant the seeds, you ship the seeds. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Plant grow harvest.
yeah. And basically what I found, like obviously people's mileage might vary on this because like I live in kind of it's not really a big city, but it's a city.
Okay.
I think the city I live in is actually like the third smallest in the
Ah.
UK, which is weird. Because I always thought of it as kind of big, but anyway, I found like there's a lot of like vegetarian alternatives. Like,
Mm.
I've not like I think I've had one bad experience with it, which was going into a Weatherspoons the other day, and they only had like one vegetarian burger,
Ah.
like one type of vegetarian burger. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like it's 2019. There's another burger shop which I don't know how widespread it is, so I don't want to say its name. I think it's only in 2 locations, so I might be saying too much if I say its name, which is
Fair, fair.
weird. But basically, their big thing. Well, it's not their big thing, but like their thing is like any of their burgers that they have, they can make it vegetarian or they can make
Yeah.
it vegan.
Yep.
So like they have like this American breakfast burger where you can have like bacon rashers, you can have hash browns, and then the like hamburger, cheese and stuff, which is incredible. But then you can say, "Oh, I'll have it vegetarian," and they'll substitute, all of those ingredients for the plant-based options.
Yeah.
And
I
I tried one of these before Christmas, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I need to go. There's a place in my city which is similar. I'm pretty sure it's not a also like a non-chain sort of thing. I don't know if they do a vegan variation, but they definitely do vegetarian versions of the burgers they do anyway, because it's all like sauces and mixes and sort of things like that. And they do a vegetarian version of like most of it, which is really good. But I've not tried the vegetarian ones, so something to try. That is definitely something to try.
Yeah, I think like the big thing for me as well is like oh, and this is a good segue into another subject actually that I wanted wanted to talk about, but not too much. But like one thing that I found, so I went on to like a big shop the other day, like my first big shop as a vegetarian. I bought like a load of corn stuff. So I bought some like corn chicken, like putting chicken in inverted commas here, chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And I like cooked them for myself the other night with some chips and some red sauce, and I was just like,
nice.
There is no difference. Like, I couldn't taste it. Like, they were like as nice as the meat alternative.
Yeah, this is my boss is also vegetarian, very similar to how you described it. Though she's reasonably hardcore into it. Like, she won't eat any kind of jelly babies or anything like with gelatin in, because that's also like derived from animals and stuff like that. So she's very conscious of this sort of stuff. But she's had a similar thing where she's gone over to non-alcoholic beer now as well, because she can't tell the difference. And she says the same about corn as well, where there basically isn't a difference from the real thing if you were like cooking it, right?
Yeah. Well, as you may know, I don't know if I told you, but like I cut out beer like a year ago, and like I haven't missed it.
Nah, I mean, I've always been teetotal, so I've never got that. Never been on that train.
That's fine. I think like that one doesn't bother me, like at all. But one thing I was going to say actually,
Go on.
So Greg's vegan sausage rolls.
What about Greg's vegan sausage rolls?
Have you not heard the massive controversy about the vegan sausage rolls?
Hang on, Greg's
mate,
vegan sausage rolls is the second option.
Some shit.
They're almost impossible to buy in Cardiff.
Well, yeah. But right, do you want me to clue you in?
Clue me in. I need this. I need this.
So right, Greg's, like a pastry shop here in the UK, have introduced a vegan sausage roll, and
nice.
This is great, right? Because you know, it gives vegetarians and vegans the option to not eat meat. And have you ever heard of a person called Piers Morgan?
Oh God. Have I ever heard of Piers Morgan? Unfortunately, yes, I have.
So he basically went on Twitter and was like,
God damn it!
Yeah,
why is always on Twitter?
He was bashing Greg's for doing this, right? And he was just like, "Who asked for this? No one asked for this." And then like a million vegans went on there as like, "This is the greatest thing ever." No, Greg's response was like, "Hey Piers, we've been expecting you." I was like, yes. Like,
God damn.
It basically caused like this massive uproar for basically no apparent reason of like, why are they calling it a sausage roll when it's not a sausage roll, and like why are Greg's pandering to like the snowflakes?
But like oh God damn it, I'm like, I can't even get into it. What I will say, Piers Morgan though, in case anyone listening hasn't heard of him or doesn't know what he's about, he has this very old-fashioned idealistic like view of manhood, and anytime anything threatens it, he goes onto Twitter and do it. This is the guy who went on and criticized Daniel Craig for having like, I think it was Daniel Craig, it was a very famous masculine movie star, and they had a child carrier, you know, like one of the ones that you strap on, the child is like rested against your chest.
Yeah.
And Piers Morgan was saying that he was not a man because he was caring for a child, basically. And I'm like, what? That's one of many examples, but that's the one that always sticks in my mind.
I just remember a clip, like a recent clip. I don't know too much about this person, but I remember seeing a clip of him on like a talk show, and he basically like breaks into this like really awkward song where he's just like, he stands up as like, I can't remember if he says like clap your hands or like stand up. I think it's like stand
Okay.
up if you love red meat. Stand up. I was just like, and he does it for like 5 minutes, and no
Oh
one,
man.
no one joins him. Like it's like the most cringe thing.
Oh man.
Look, right,
Damn.
I like meat as much as the next guy, right? But my God, that man is delusional.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it's threatening our culture.
That's Britain, it's going to the dogs. What made me laugh is like the next day, McDonald's they announced their first like vegan wrap. Well, I shouldn't say vegan actually. I should say
Vegetarian.
vegetarian wrap. But the only reason that it's not vegan is that it's like a cross pollination thing in their cookers
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like it's being cooked with some egg based stuff. So
Yeah.
like you have to be pretty hardcore vegan to say like this isn't vegan, but I think they're just putting the vegetarian label on it just
It's
to be
safe.
safe.
Yeah.
It's basically vegan, but
Yeah. No, I'd definitely consider going vegetarian, but if I do it, and it will likely be very loose. It'll be like vegetarian 80% of the time, and then when I feel like, oh, do you know what? I feel like a bacon butty, I'll have a bacon butty. But yeah, it's something I wouldn't mind moving to. Can I ask actually, like, how do you keep a food diary, Joro? Are you
no.
planning on doing that? Oh, okay. Because the thing is, right, I just don't know what I would eat. I can think of like 3 meals as like that proper vegetarian, like evening meals, like main meals of like the evening.
Yeah, this was my
That
big thing as well, is like I
I
didn't really know. Like going into this, like I did a bit of research, but not a lot. And I thought
mm,
like, oh, it can't be that hard. But then when I got there, I was like, oh my God, I don't know like any meal that I can have.
yeah,
But the
like
thing is like it's a hell of a lot easier than you think.
mm,
Because like as I said, there's so many like meat substitutes now. Like
yeah,
corn is like wonderful thing, but there's like instead of basically what you want to think about it is like uh beef replaced with like bean based stuff,
yeah.
chicken replaced with corn. Um,
Okay,
there is like beef corn alternatives, but they're not that great, I will admit. But
that's fair.
what else is there? Like bacon and like pig based stuff. I don't think there's like a
Cool.
great alternative to that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like instead of like a beef burger, you just have like a spicy bean burger or something.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
yeah, it's and yeah, I was much like you of like, oh shit, I don't know what to eat. But like things are very clearly labeled, which I
yeah.
love because like I can go into a shop like 90% of the time I can look at the package and it will say like suitable for vegetarians. Like there's
Yep.
either a veg logo or like a plant logo with like text next to it. But it's much easier than you think.
Yeah, I might consider it. I think first I got to cut out the chocolate again because man, I've been bad for that. I get so much chocolate over Christmas, as we all do.
Yeah,
So
chocolate
it
is
becomes
like my one weakness. I love chocolate.
man, and sugar is fucking evil, man. Like I'm convinced America is only as stupid as it is because of all the sugar they put in all their food. Like that's like a low key conspiracy on my sort of thing. Like if you push me on it, I'm gonna say, all right, it's probably their education system and like the lead in the paint and things like that. But low key, sugar is up there as well. All
Oh
right.
yeah, sugar is like one of the worst things that you can put into your body. I swear.
Yeah.
Like it is basically like a drug, because the
Yeah.
body can crave it after a while. One
They.
interesting thing I remember hearing when I was a kid. I don't like
Yeah.
this was like something I heard and didn't really verify because like I was a kid and just
Fair.
heard it on the radio or wherever. But like they were saying that like diet cokes are like sometimes worse for
Yeah.
people who are more used to the sugar based alternatives because like when you drink like fizzy pop and stuff, your body is kind of expecting that sugar rush, the sugar to
Oh,
hit your
interesting.
body, and the sugar that like alternative that they use like hits your brain in like the wrong way, and then like your brain was like, oh, that's not what I expected, so your body like craves sugar more.
More sugar. Oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, I've stayed away from fizzy drinks most of my life as well, so I have a really weak stomach. In case anyone was listening and wondering why I'm teetotal and don't drink fizzy drinks, it's not because moral virtues or anything. It's because I have a really weak stomach. I can't hold fizzy drink or anything like that. It's really bad.
Oh man, I love
Um,
fizzy drink. I
yeah,
just
so
I
so
just
I,
have diet alternatives now.
fair. Nah, the thing with sugar the story with sugar that always got me, and I saw this on John Oliver's last week tonight, quite an old episode now, where he did an episode on sugar, and it was where they put a rat or a mouse or a lab mouse, they gave it a diet with the same amount of added sugars that they put into like Americans' food on like a daily basis, and it made the lab mouse so fucking stupid. Like it couldn't figure shit out. Like they put it in like a water vat with like an island on it, and they like showed the comparison of like a mouse with a normal diet versus a mouse with like a high sugar diet. The mouse with a high sugar diet couldn't get out of the water. It was like, and then there's like the heart disease stuff. There's obesity. Like there's a lot of bad stuff with sugar.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I don't doubt it for a second. Like, as I say, I think sugar is like one of the worst things you can do to your body. Like,
yeah,
because, like,
in excess.
yeah, in excess, of course, like,
Yeah.
you can control it and things, but
Whew. So yeah, no dietary awareness with Exo and Jara.
don't take diet and tips from us. My God,
No,
we are like
no.
two of the worst people to be talking about this.
To be fair, I think you're better than average because now you're just trying to stick at least with the vegetarian thing, and you do a bit of exercise. That I think that's better than like at least half the people out there.
I know, this is the weird thing. Like, a
The
year
bar
ago.
is that low.
I know, yeah. Like a year ago, I was probably like one of the worst people to talk to about this because my diet was absolute trash. My exercise regime was non-existent. And now if you talk to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I go to the gym like 3 times a week. I eat all of this good food. And like, if I talk to myself from like 2 years ago and say all of this shit to myself, it would be like, what the fuck happened to you?
You
Where the
changed, man.
I know, yeah, it's just like you aren't the real Mark. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh man, I another thing that I found super helpful to do and what I still do now is I buy fruit in my shop, which is a nice thing to do. Is buy fruit in my weekly shop sort of thing, and I put that in my lunchbox for work. And like most of the time, that's like pretty much all I put in my lunchbox. I buy lunch at work, which is something I've got to sort out anyway. But when I get hungry at work and all I have is fruit, I'm very happy to eat fruit. It's a really nice way to make sure you're eating fruit, is to have it only be the only available option when you're at work. And then
Yes.
suddenly, fruit becomes like an amazing thing.
Yeah, fruit is really good. I know my
Yeah.
workplace, they order fruit in on the Monday and Wednesday, so we have like 2 baskets
Ah,
of
nice.
fruit, and it's wonderful. Like it's actually really good because like we have, I think like the main ones are the main three of bananas, apples, and pears, and
Ah, yeah, yeah.
like some people like bring in treats and stuff, but apart from that, like fruit is your only option. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's all like if it's your only option, you'll learn to like fruit.
You certainly do. That's how I got myself on it. And yeah, just apples and bananas for me mostly. Because they're just easy to eat and quick and easy to eat. So yeah, good stuff. This is part of healthy living. And honestly, like I don't miss having chocolate when I have fruit at work, but I am bad for if there is fruit and there is chocolate. Like I've got an apple on my desk right now, which I was going to have at lunch, but I didn't because I also had chocolate. So, it's a slow battle.
Yeah, I buy chocolate all the time. I shouldn't, but like I'm so bad for like chocolate. Like it's my one last vice, and I like chocolate, sugary things like if I kick those two things, like I think I would be like peak physical performance, but it's never gonna happen.
Oh man, do you know what I've got to cut down on as well? Is tea.
Oh yeah,
Oh man,
caffeine. Caffeine is an
oh,
interesting one.
caffeine I'm not too worried about in itself, but I have 2 and a bit sugars per
Oh
cup
yeah,
of
yeah,
tea.
yeah. I have 2 sugars in my coffee. I'm more of a coffee
And
person.
fair, man, it's fair. But which is fine. When I was having like 1 cup a day, maybe not even that, that was fine. But again, over the winter period, it's cold. You know,
Gets
Christmas,
yeah,
you
yeah.
see, yeah, you meet a lot of family. You're having a lot of tea. And my God, now I've gone up like 3 cups a day, and it's like that's like 6 teaspoons of sugar just in drinks.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I used to
oh,
be really bad for this like a couple of years ago, because I think like I was drinking like 4 or 5 coffees a day or something. And like
yeah,
I was wondering like here's the funny thing, right? I was like drinking that much coffee and then I was wondering why the hell I couldn't get to sleep. I was just like, come on, man. No, so seriously, so like I think my manager was like caught me in the kitchen one day. I was like, "Damn, you drink a lot of coffee." I was like, "Do I?" Like this hasn't really like struck me before. Of
clicked.
like
Yeah,
you like I drink a lot of coffee, so it's just like I cut myself back to like 2 cups a day and exclusively in the morning because like
yeah.
it takes like a ridiculous like 4 to 6 hours for the caffeine to like burn through your system
Mm.
sometimes longer, but
Yeah, no, it's you got to be done. I mean, I went cold turkey for tea during last September. I had to go away for work for like a week, and I was staying at a hotel, and there were technically tea facilities, but I ain't gonna trust no hotel tea. Anyway, so I went cold turkey for the week, and then like and that's how I like snapped myself out of it last time. So I'm probably gonna do that again. It's not too difficult for me. The morning thing is difficult, but I'll just try and buy some milk and have cereal. Because if I have toast for breakfast, I want a cup of tea.
yeah.
So if I have cereal, then I'm happy not having a cuppa, obviously.
Well, I
So
think the interesting thing about caffeine um, is like people think that it reduces like how tired you are and things,
nah,
but
that's a weird trick, isn't it?
yeah, because like you still are tired, but the caffeine is like tricking your brain into thinking that it's not as tired as it was.
Yeah,
It's like this insane like chemical reaction, but basically what it's doing is like stopping you from feeling tired, but also like dehydrating you to fuck. Like
yeah. And which is always interesting because then people drink more caffeine to
yeah,
get
to
rehydrated.
I know it's like, oh, I'm so thirsty. Let me have a cup of tea. It's like, no, that's like the worst thing to drink. Like
Uh,
like the thing that you should drink every time that you are thirsty is water. Water is
Water.
like it is the thing that God gave to this earth and was just like here, drink this one thing. And it's like, no, we can improve this. Turns out we can't.
Okay, I have to admit though, I'm a sucker for squash nowadays. I used to
Ah,
drink pretty much purely water, but now I do like to add some squash to it because goddamn the
water.
water in my
Like I
place
will
is
admit,
horrible.
I am not much of a water drinker. This is like one of my failings. Is just like I can't because like it's so bland and boring to me. And like I can feel like if I drink water for like 1 2 days, I feel like so less like energy in my
Oh,
body
okay.
that it's like horrible and groggy for me. So like I always turn to like the other drinks. I think it's just like um for me like I think it's just like the little energy boost that like something
Yeah.
like a Pepsi Max gives me for some reason.
Nah, I mean you're not alone there. I think a lot of people are like that. Like I say, I started buying squash regularly because it kind of like with the fruit thing, like where if I have it, it becomes a much more palatable option.
Mm,
Um, because when I was at home, the water in my place isn't amazing. I live in a really bad flat. I got bad internet, bad water. I need to sort my life out. Um, yeah. So having tea was a lot more nicer than it was drinking water.
Yeah.
just because it was not that horrible hard water sort of shit. So having squash has made drinking water more palatable for me.
Yeah, I
But
did
I don't know
try the
how much
squash
worse
thing
it
for a
makes it.
while.
I don't know if it makes it that much worse. I need to ask my boss at work. She'll probably know.
Yeah, I'm not like one of those hardcore vegetarians yet, so like I
Nah,
won't.
she's.
You don't have to feel like morally corrupt around me.
Oh no, I don't feel morally corrupt around her either. But it's super interesting. Like there's so many buzzwords and stuff that I've learned from her. Like I was talking about how I was being lazy and I did a baked potato in the microwave.
Hmm.
And she said, "Oh no, that can be a good thing because that actually heightens its glycemic index, which actually means it takes more work for your body to break it down. So it
Oh yeah,
actually."
the GI index. This was a thing that I learned the other day. Here we go.
And here we go, boy.
Now we're getting into the podcast. No, it's just
No.
like, oh man, this is so boring. Where it's just like, oh yeah, these high GI foods are like, I think like the high GI foods are better because like your body burns through them slowly. So it's like,
Yeah.
basically like you're trying to eat like these really good GI foods so that like your body burns through it at like a steady rate. Basically,
Yeah.
if you get like too low a GI or too high a GI, your body burns through it too quickly or too slowly. So like,
Which
oh
is
man,
pretty much what like added sugars are as well.
yeah,
You
basically.
burn through them really quickly,
Yeah,
and
sugar is like one of those things. Is like you like it will give like that's what that boost is because it's like
yeah,
high GI. Like your body burns through that energy super quickly, and that's what the jolt is basically. But it's like super bad because like in half an hour, 45 minutes or something, you'll crash, and that's what it
yeah,
is because like the GI like flows through you so quickly, it gives you that boost, but then that crash as well, which is
yeah.
why you're looking for that like balance of like good
No,
GI
proper rain.
foods of like burn through it
So
slow enough to like feel the energy, but
yeah,
not so that you burn through it too quickly.
man. The other one that that my boss says a lot because I used to eat really crap, and I've been getting better slowly. While working with my boss, and I was eating the pasta pot things from Tesco. That's something I get semi regularly. And I was like, "Oh, this isn't like a bad alternative, though." And she was like, there's a lot of what was it, starchy carbs or starchy carbs in that." And I was just like, "God damn it, there's no winning." What the hell
No,
is a
there isn't
starchy
any.
carb?
I don't know if there's like a win condition in life. We're all gonna die anyways.
But yeah, no,
No, I
I
love
find the whole thing
pasta. Like
interesting.
fuck you, pasta's like the one saving grace that I have in
I
this
know.
world. I'm not giving up my pasta.
Yeah, though it's super interesting. I find it really interesting. I'm glad that like with my boss, for example, if I see something online, like the I can't think of an example, but if I see something online, like a health fad that people are going through, I will ask her, and she will often know, like, not necessarily the science behind it, but she'll know whether it's like actually a genuine thing or not,
Yeah, I think like one
which
of
is
the
really
big
handy.
things for me with like diet fads or like
Hmm.
health fads is like it I don't really understand them because like the science behind like diets and the science behind like weight loss and things is like really complex because
Yeah.
like there's so many like types of people and like we all store, use, burn energy in different ways. So there's I don't like personally I don't think there's ever going to be like that one definitive just do this
Yeah.
sort of diet or like do this sort of like you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's all about like finding the balance for yourself, which is why I never get these fads because like I don't think they'll work for like 90% of people. Like the 10% of people that it does work for, great, but
Yeah.
like 90% is like no way.
It is that kind of thing though, isn't it? Like if there's enough fad diets for you to try, one of them might work. Like I think that's it. Like I've had people I've the biggest one that I've seen variants on where people both loved it and hate it is the 5-2 diet, where for 5 days
Oh
of the
god,
week you have
yeah.
like 400 calories and
Someone was
then
oh yeah, someone was talking to me about this the other day. I can't
mm,
remember who it was, but I was like, that is crazy to me. The 5-2 diet, basically, like
Yeah.
you eat. Oh, you what is it? You don't eat for
400.
4 days.
You have for 5 days of the week you have 400 calories or something like that, like a fifth of what you would normally have as like an adult man. And then on the 2 days you have, I'm not sure if it's 2,000 or 2,500 if you actually like load up or not. But yeah, I've I've known people to do this, to try it for a couple of weeks and hate it and not get anywhere with it, and then I've had people who have like seen immediate results and think it's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
Well, as I
So
say, like
again,
people
yeah,
just use energy in different ways. So yeah, like
yeah,
that's crazy to me. Like why? Because the 5-2 diet is interesting because you're basically like drastically shifting down the amount of calories that you eat for 5 days. That must be like really tough.
yeah.
Because
I've never tried it,
no,
but
no, like the worst, like the I know like when I was trying to lose a lot of weight and like now the great thing about now is that I'm not as hungry as I used to be. So like my appetite is just not what it used to be. But like I cut my calories like drastically. I must have gone from like 2,000 a day to like 900 to like 1,200 a day.
damn, man.
So it was like cutting my calories in half basically. And that was really tough. So to go to like 400 calories a day, that's basically like one meal a day. For people who don't know, like that's basically
Yeah,
like a sandwich. like
yeah.
sandwich crisps and that's it. like
When my colleague was doing it for most days of the week, yeah, he was just having like a salad in the evening. It
yeah,
was
it's
like
crazy. Like
it
you
was like a
like
snack something.
unless you are consciously aware of like
Yeah,
how like if you've ever done any type of diet and like counted calories, like you're aware of this, but like if you've never done it before, like you just don't know how many calories are in like a stupid little
everything.
thing like a Mars bar or like like a packet of crisps. Like it's really like ridiculous.
Yeah,
But like the main thing that got me losing weight was like just burning more calories than I was eating, basically. And that's like the
yeah.
major thing.
That's how the math adds up, I suppose. I've been like kind of fortunate in that I've never like felt like I needed to lose weight. I've always hovered around like 11 stone as an adult, 10, 11 stone. I don't know what that is in pounds, so sorry. But yeah, so I've never felt like it, but I like for practical reasons, I want to be healthy. Like I'm very weak and very like not have a lot of stamina. So that's why I want to be healthier. And
Yeah,
but
for
yeah,
me it was like a duo thing of like one I want to lose weight and one I want to be like healthier. And like I think
mhm.
I've lost a lot of weight. I'm a lot healthier, but I'd like to be even more like active and stuff. So that's why
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been trying out a new exercise regime, but it's gotten me into a bad state.
Yeah, I need to. I really need to sit down and focus on a regime for me. Um,
I tell you what, like the best thing to do is just
go on.
like because for me what worked is just to say to yourself, all right, one day a week, just do it for like an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
And like you don't have to like do the whole thing of go hard go home because that's dumb. Like if you do the
yeah,
whole go hard go home thing, then you'll go hard one day and then you'll never want to do it again. Just like I swear to God, like just one day book out an hour and just go for a walk. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like just listen to music, listen to an audiobook because like that's how you get yourself interested. It's just like go out, go do it sort of thing.
yeah. Yeah, I might. I definitely need to start doing something. I stretch very regularly. That's a habit I've gotten in this last year, and stretching is so good. I was getting lower back problems. I used to work at a desk mostly, and then at home I was sitting at a desk. So I was starting to get lower back problems, and stretching was like amazing for that. But I did
Yeah.
notice it was like one of those things where I would get lazy as soon as it was being effective. So I would like stretch and have like a good few weeks, and then I'd stop stretching because I was like, oh, I'm not having any problems anymore, and then it would come back. So yeah, you got to be consistent with these things, and I think it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
getting into the habit, which
Yeah, it
is
is all about the habit. Yeah, I know like a lot of people are saying like sitting is like the smoking of the 21st century,
oh, okay, yeah, that
which
wouldn't
is
surprise me.
like I believe them, to be honest, like
Yeah,
because yeah, sitting down is like one of like really bad, but like I sit down all the time, like at work I'm sitting down, at home I'm sitting down, like I'm really bad for it, so I'm gonna die.
yeah, no, it's funny how like uncomfortable sitting is when you're doing it like 8 hours a day.
Oh yeah, it's
Like,
so uncomfortable.
and I want one of those standing desks, where you press a button and everything
Yeah,
like
I'd
raises
love
up.
like we were trying to convince because my office is doing like a big refurb, and we were
Oh
like,
yeah.
and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna buy new desks, we're gonna
You know,
like buy new chairs and stuff, and we were like, oh cool, can we get standing desks? And they were like,
yeah,
no, that costs too much. I was like,
yeah.
what? It's like £100 more per desk or something. It's probably not even that. It's like £50 more per desk than just a normal desk, and it will help. Like it will help us out. Like it will make us healthier. Like
Yeah.
there's research to actually support that you are more productive with a
When
standing
yeah.
desk than you are with a sitting one. So you're saving yourself money in the long run.
Oh. Yeah, it's a real ah man, it's such a difficult one to like try and sell to people. Once it becomes like a standardized sort of thing, like I could see it literally being in any office, but yeah, like mm,
Yeah, right now it's not like it's not as socially accepted. I don't think to be standing all the time at like desk jobs, but I think it
yeah.
needs to become socially accepted and quickly because I think a lot of people are doing unforetold damage to their bodies.
Yeah, and I actually am quite lucky in that sense because my job is not a complete office desk job. I do some admin work, but a lot of my job is actually on my feet and running about. Um, so I actually don't suffer from this the worst, and I still am somebody who gets like lower back issues and stuff from it, mostly because my personal life is sitting down a lot as well. But like if it's that easy, like unless you work retail and then also don't like do something very active outside of work, you're probably being affected by this. The amount we say, so
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I think like I don't want to throw out like specific numbers because I haven't done like sufficient amount of research about this, but like I think it should be like 20 minutes per hour that you should be standing up or something or like
oh well,
moving about because
yeah.
like yeah, sitting down for like 8 hours a day is not healthy.
In fairness, that is one of the counter studies, and I didn't get to read it properly. I think I've got it saved somewhere to read, but it's that just standing actually isn't that much better than just sitting.
Yeah.
But when you're standing, because you have to like constantly balance out and do little things, that actual movement is the bit that makes the difference.
Mhm. Well,
And yeah,
interestingly, like I remember watching a talk about actual treadmill desks.
oh yeah, yeah,
So this is way better than the standing desks, but will never become socially accepted. Where you basically like put a treadmill, like a stripped down treadmill, underneath your desk and like set it to a very low setting so that
yeah,
you're
like a
like
regular walking.
yeah, you're just like slowly walking like throughout the day and like moving your body.
Yeah.
And you I think like at the end of the day you'll only burn like 200 calories or something from doing this. But oh my god, it is like the healthiest thing that you can do if you're like
My
working a desk job.
my goal or one thing I want to do when I'm privately renting at the minute and I want to get a mortgage, but that's going to cause there's issues with that. But the goal for me was to get my dad's got a cross trainer, and my goal was to basically get something set up so that I could like take my Nintendo Switch into wherever I have this cross trainer that I'm going to steal from my dad, and then I can like play some Switch games like some Smash or some short like arcade games on the Switch while I do some like thing.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's a great idea. A lot of
Mm.
people do that sort of thing where they're like, um, they'll exercise while watching TV because
Yeah.
there was this great Reddit post about this actually, where this guy was like overweight and he wanted to like basically get to a healthy weight, and he was like, well, I was playing like Civilization for like a stupid amount of time per day, like 10 hours a day or something. So instead of sitting and doing that per day, he just like threw in like a treadmill or something. It was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm now doing what I like to do, which is playing Civilization, but to play Civilization I need to be walking.
Yeah.
And like he got like, yeah, it
It helps
basically
with that.
it basically helps your mind focus on something that isn't like
Mm.
the boring like what people would consider the boring thing of like walking or running or something. Because like, I tell you what, if you just painted a room white and put a treadmill in there with like no form of entertainment, you're going to get bored really quickly, and your mind will crave
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is not a smart thing to do. Put in a TV, distract, like, because like
Yeah.
your mind is constantly looking for something to focus on. So like, distract yourself. Like, I listen to music. I love listening to music, so that is a real help for me.
Well, what I want to experience, and what I think would genuinely add to it, whether it's with Smash or like a fighting game or something. I wouldn't say StarCraft, because I think StarCraft, I'm bad with accuracy anyway, with mouse and keyboard movement, so I don't think I could do it with StarCraft. But with something like Smash, where you've got a controller in your hand and you're sort of going for it, as you're actually getting more pumped up, because like it's a close game or something, you're like, if you're on a cross trainer, you might actually start like going faster.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
think
no,
that's
no,
a
no.
really interesting kind of like dynamic to have, and I want to try it. But yeah, my life is not quite in a position to be able to do it yet.
That'd be an interesting experiment to run. You'll have to
Uh,
tell me how that goes if you ever do it.
Yeah, I really want to, but well, I'm waiting on the whole Brexit thing to see what happens, whether I should get a mortgage or not.
Oh
Um,
man, tell me about it.
yeah, this is, and I don't know really what to do, because I
I'm
mean it
changing
might
the
happen.
topic. I'm changing it. Here we
Are
go.
we doing
Here
it?
we go, boys.
Here we go, boys. Yeah, I don't. To keep it to the recent topic, yeah, I don't know whether to wait for Brexit, or like just say fuck it or not, because I have a feeling like, I don't know, Brexit, anything could still happen, which is like terrifying and yet very
Still up in
exciting.
the air, boys.
It's still a we don't know.
After 2 years, we still don't know.
Oh. Oh, and I'm getting a phone call. Hang on. This is a really bad time. Hang on. I'll be right back. Joro, talk.
I haven't been following the Brexit stuff. So I know that Theresa May did the Parliament vote on the Brexit deal that she had planned, and basically got told we don't want to do this by, I think it was like a 200-100 vote. Like, it was ridiculous the amount of people who said we don't want to do this. And then there was like a vote of no confidence, which she won. So like, she's still in power, and she's still the one making the major decisions, which is weird. I really don't know what's going to happen, because now people are talking about like general elections again, but we've already we had one of those recently and people voted Tory. People have voted like saying that we should have a second Brexit vote, which is like insane to me, because like I compare this to the Scottish independence talk that we were having like a few years ago, and like the results were like really close, where it was like 51-49 or something, like ridiculously close, or it was like 53-47, and they were like, no, it was too close, we're going to do it again. And like, I thought of that as like oh, we didn't get the result we wanted, so we're going to keep doing it until we get the vote we want, or the result we want. And that feels like it's happening again, but with Brexit, where like because it was so close, people are like, "Oh, we want another vote," and basically, I always come back to like, what's the point in a referendum if we keep on doing the referendum over and over and over again until we get the result that we wanted? Because genuinely, I think if the vote came around again, I think it would just remain the same because a lot of British people are like stubborn, and will be like, no, we voted for this, so let's just do it and get it over with. But this is going to be like a long process thing, and it's, as we say, like it's still up in the air whether it's going to happen, whether it's not going to happen.
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss?
I was talking about Brexit.
Okay, but it's either going to happen or it's not going to happen, or it might kind of happen. We don't know.
Hard Brexit, soft Brexit, no deal Brexit. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, no, I'm super. I have to admit, right? In 2016, I got into politics because of the whole U.S. election.
Oh, Trump thing.
But
a lot of people did this. Yeah, go for it.
But thankfully, UK politics is like gone. Nah, hold my beer.
I know.
Like let's show you what we can do.
What happened in 2016, where like every person, both in the US and the UK, got interested in politics basically overnight because a load of people were fucking everything up.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
Oh my god, it was such a bad year.
It really was. It was. I mean, there's the Giga, the anime YouTuber, who did the video halfway through. He did it about the Brexit vote, the EU referendum, and then in his note he put that this was the mid-season finale for like 2016 because at the end of the year they were going to have Trump elected, and then Trump got elected, and I was like, oh shit, this really was like the season. Where the universe imploded.
Okay, so I come at this from like two different perspectives, right?
Go for it.
Like I had very little interest in politics before 2016, and then got interested in politics after 2016 just because of how bad things went down. But I know that I basically have zero knowledge of politics, right? But what annoys me is that for some reason, like because of the whole 2016 bandwagon that was like, Brexit, then what was going to be called Frexit, French.
Oh yeah.
French Brexit, and then the Trump stuff. Like loads of people got interested in politics, and now, well, during like 2016, 2017, they were like basically advertising themselves as gurus of politics. And basically saying, we have all the answers, but then as soon as you ask them a hard question, they crumbled. And like they have no idea. No one has no idea about this. Like, oh man, it annoys me.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, isn't it?
Yes, all over.
Literally. Yeah, it's like literally the more people think they know about it, the less they actually generally know about it.
Yeah, and the thing is like I know nothing about politics. Like
that's the best place to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have a lot of learning to do.
I think I toe the line actually because there are definitely times where I feel like I know more than other people do. So I probably got to watch out for that because I'm probably on that line somewhere where I actually don't know as much. Because, like for example, I actually am quite sympathetic of Theresa May in certain situations. And that is it seemed that people didn't understand that the deal she got actually was a pretty reasonable deal. And
see, I don't know anything about this deal.
Oh, okay, fair enough then.
Like, I don't know what's on the line, what's being compromised.
Okay, do you want me to try and explain it as I know it? Okay, so after the vote to leave, or the EU referendum, and the vote 52 to 48. Remember that number? I've got a fun story about that later. After that happened, there was no agreed plan on how to leave. There was no anything like that. There was no thing set up. And so when it came to Theresa May becoming Prime Minister, which was a whole little debacle in itself, but let's just ignore that. She became Prime Minister. She was leading it. and she was going to make it happen basically. So she had to go to the EU and get a deal. And this is originally it was called the Chequers deal. You may have heard that term earlier in 2018.
Yeah.
And the thing with the EU is they have four. I can't remember what they call it, like 4 pillars, I think they call it. And that is basically there is a single market, there is a customs union, there is freedom of movement, and there is something else. This is how good I am at it. I can't even remember the 4th thing.
Yeah, but essentially, Theresa May went in and said, like, we still want these 4 things, right?
Kind of. Freedom of movement. Basically, you can't have one without all of them, is the EU stance. We really didn't want freedom of movement. That was like
the one thing that we didn't want.
Yeah, the Brexiteers, as they've sort of come to be known.
Oh, that's
that was kind
name.
of. I know, right? The Leave campaign. That was like the one thing that they all kind of agreed on, like take back control of the borders.
Well, it was that and the NHS. But go ahead.
Oh.
Let's not talk about the NHS.
Let's not get on that. So. They wanted to take, they wanted to take back control of the borders. Oh yeah, that's it, and Parliament sovereignty as well.
Yeah, take back our
control of the laws. Let's say
from Brussels.
So those are like the 4 things, and we just didn't want to be ruled by the EU, or we didn't want to have the European Court of Justice have any say in our laws. We didn't want to have freedom of movement, but we still kind of like the customs union, and we still kind of like the single market. That was like kind of where we were with it. So the reason why shit hit the fan so hard, and again, people were saying this during 2016 as well, but it really came home with this whole backstop issue. Did you hear about the backstop? Have you heard about that at all? So one of the biggest problems with Theresa May's deal, because she got a pretty fair deal where we left the customs union and the single market, as well as freedom of movement. Actually, we were leaving all 4 major pillars, but we were continuing a sort of similar sort of trade deal. That was like going to be the idea that we were still going to be able to trade with them to a certain degree. I don't know much about that, but the main problem was if we don't have a custom union, if we're not in part of that customs union, everything that crosses borders has to be checked.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
So and now between Dover and Calais, that's kind of awkward because it's going to create a lot of backlogs, but it's very doable. It's a very realistic situation.
Just to interject a little bit, because I remember someone talking to me about this, and I don't know how true this is, but there's a country that does something similar with the EU. And
Norway, possibly?
Pardon?
But might be Norway, but go on.
Yeah, it might be Norway. And I remember being told a story where, like, they have certain, like, laws on certain types of food goods, and, like, just goods in general. And, like 1 week they were trading just fine with like cheese or something, and then the next week they passed a new law, and then they came into the harbours with like the exact same cheese they were selling like the last week, and it's like, no, this rule now exists and we can no longer buy this cheese from you.
Oh, okay.
Like, God.
I haven't heard that example, but yeah, that's kind of what the customs union is. If everyone in the EU is in the customs union and everyone is under the European Court of Justice and stuff like that, then there is nothing to check, basically, because if it can be manufactured and made in the UK to those standards, then it can go to anywhere in the EU because they all share the same standards. But the real problem with this is that the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland they have a tepid history, let's say. In case you're not aware of UK politics, in which case this whole conversation is going to be really weird. But there's a thing called the Good Friday Agreement. Have you heard of that, Joro?
No.
Okay, so the Good Friday Agreement, I only heard about this properly during this whole Brexit thing. So it's like, again, I've been learning all of it. So the Good Friday Agreement was the agreement that there should be no hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, because was it in the 70s? I can't remember. There was there's basically the IRA and a lot of terrorist action basically going on because of border splits between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And part of us joining the EU has actually solved that because we could have a frictionless border. Now, UK Parliament, with the Good Friday Agreement, will not put a border in place of Ireland. They will do everything they can to avoid putting a border between Northern and the Republic of Ireland. So, but the problem is if we don't share the customs union with the EU and Republic of Ireland is EU and Northern Ireland isn't, then there has to be a border check because otherwise you can smuggle goods along there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So basically, nobody wants to put a border in Ireland, right? Because the EU don't want it, and obviously the UK doesn't want it either, as part of the Good Friday Agreement. But the EU can't not put a border in there if we're not part of the customs union.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with the backstop was that we had a withdrawal agreement that we would leave the single market, have no freedom of movement. People aren't going to be able to come over here, whatever. But the backstop was we can only move forward with that when we figure out something with Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. Until then, we stay in the EU as a whole because Northern Ireland didn't want to be treated differently than the rest of the UK. So if Northern Ireland has to stay in the customs union, then the whole UK has to stay in the customs union. And if the whole UK stays in the customs union, we have to accept freedom of movement and stuff like that still. And this has been the big talking point for Theresa May and any kind of deal. Any kind of position where we realistically leave, we are going to have a big problem with the border in Ireland. That's like the crux of everything. I think if this wasn't a problem, if Ireland was unified, if the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland were one, and it was not part of the UK, we probably would have Theresa May's deal probably would have went through, or at least it would have been a lot clearer between like hard Brexiteers and like soft Brexiteers, people who want to stay in the single market versus people who wanted to, leave everything.
Yeah, that's just not feasible.
So yeah, there's been a lot of talks about how else it could be done with like a Norway plus style, because Norway, I believe it's Norway, have a deal with the EU where they're not in the customs union, but they have a lot of very high-tech security cameras and like you have to announce that you're going through beforehand and then your thing gets scanned, like your license plate or whatever, and then they know what goods you're traveling because you're like an authorized like traveler, and I don't know how they enforce these sort of things. But there's no hard border there, but there is like checks.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of people were saying for. But Theresa May promised a frictionless border where there would be no checks, which is basically impossible. And also like the technology to get set up to that Norway plus style of deal is like not there yet. Like we don't know how long it would take.
Well, I think.
And again, go on.
I was gonna say, like, I think besides from China, like the UK is like the most surveyed country.
Yeah, we are the most cameras. Yeah, and as someone who actually works in CCTV, I can attest to that. So yeah, that was like the main thing with her deal is that, and this is the fundamental issue. And this is why I really hate both parties both major parties when it comes to Brexit, because Labour have been arguing for a half and half deal. Basically, they've been saying we will negotiate a deal where we stay in the single market and the customs union, but we'll get rid of freedom of movement and that, which the EU won't do. If Labour got in power in 2017 through the snap election, we would be in the same situation right now, I think, because that deal there would have never been a deal that could have been made. The EU would not allow the UK to pick and choose like its rules.
Yeah.
So like this is why Brexit has always been an incredibly difficult thing. And this is also why Theresa May...
This is why I was so confused, like why they gave the general public this to vote on. Because we were the British public were just not informed about these issues. I don't even think people were aware of these issues. Like not even the people involved in Brexit were aware of these issues at the time.
Yeah, I mean the island backstop has from leaving the customs union, and then by leaving the customs to leave anything you have to leave the customs union. Like that issue should have been red flag from day one. and some people were calling it out back then, but certainly not me. Like I had no idea.
No, I know. But that was the problem, right? Is that we weren't made aware
Inform.
of these
Well,
issues, and
this
people
is
just thought, "Oh yeah, this will be so easy."
yeah. Well,
Where
this
like
was.
we haven't like when we joined the EU, like that was like the 1950s.
I think it was 70s. I'm not sure when, but yeah. It was when we joined. Rules and stuff were still being made, like, and we had a voice in what rules were made and sort of stuff like that. And this was like this was like why the UK has a really good deal with EU. For example, we're the only country in the EU 28 or 27 or whatever it is now. We were the only country that was going to keep its currency. We had
Yeah.
we had a permanent
This is
opt
the
out.
weird thing. Like this is why I thought that like Britain being a part of the EU like has always been a bit of a weird tenuous
Mm,
relationship because like we were the only country in the EU that got to keep its currency. We
yep.
didn't have to drive on the right side of the road.
Yeah.
Like because
That's a good point.
every other country had to turn their currency into the euro
Yep.
and change their roads and
In
other
fairness,
things as well. But like,
in fairness to the euro argument, a lot of countries, like from a financial point of view, wanted
yeah.
it.
Yeah, there was
But
no the reason for changing to the euro was that the euro was stronger than every other currency in Europe aside from
uh,
the
the
Great
pound,
British
yeah.
Pound, and but there's been like controversy over it now because of Greece and Germany basically always have to bail Greece out because they keep on like
Yeah.
plummeting the euro to basically useless. So it's like this mutually assured destruction thing of like if one country is doing badly and is plummeting the price of the euro, then the euro will like plummet for everyone, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why we never wanted to get in. Is because we didn't want to be part of a currency that is lesser than our own.
And yeah, we had a permanent opt out. And this is where the people who like oversimplify it and say, well, we can just rejoin if
No, we can't.
well, yeah, like even if we were to try, we'd likely not be able to keep the pound at that point.
Yeah,
Like,
because they can probably like slap our wrists so hard as like, well, you made a mistake, didn't you? Like,
yeah, and like we are in a very tenuous position now for that because the horrible thing is so Brexit. There was a term going around called Brexit in name only, Bino or Bino, however you want to say it. That was going around for a while, and that was the idea that we would technically leave, but we would be a vassal state, basically, where we technically wouldn't be part of an EU, but we'd still follow all the rules, but we just wouldn't have a voice at the table.
yeah,
Which
I remember that.
and honestly, that if Brexit happens now, that is likely what will be that's likely what
Yeah,
will
no,
happen.
no doubt. The biggest problem for me is like we even if we weren't in the EU, we'd have to like trade with the EU, so like
Yep.
we'd have to follow all of their rules anyway. It's
Yep.
just that we have less say in what happens
Yep.
in that
But
space now that we're not a part of it, but we still have to interact with these people. So like, oh man.
yeah, it's a real difficult one, and that's where like but the frustrating thing about it is if Brexit in name only happens, then all the things that people were complaining about a few years ago when or fear mongering about it will be basically true. We won't have a say in the EU. We'll be paying into it, but not getting as many benefits, and we'll still have to follow the law and accept freedom of movement, which is kind of like what everyone hate. Like the campaign that people were
Yeah,
that
yeah.
were sorry, yeah, the values that people were campaigning on weren't true at the time, but might become true because of it, which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
And then we get to no deal Brexit. Whew. What do you know about no deal Brexit, Jara?
That there's no deal,
That there's no deal.
and we aren't included in any of the pillars.
So, have you heard of Project Fear? It's
No.
buzz term. Okay, so in 2016, early 2016, when the referendum campaign was going on, there was a lot of people fear mongering based, or not. No, sorry, I shouldn't even phrase it like that. There was a lot of people saying if we leave the EU, planes will not be able to land, ships will not be able to cross things, and it's going to be absolute chaos. There's going to be mass chaos. There's going to be mass problems. Like it's going to be a nightmare, basically. And this got labelled as Project Fear because the people who were making those arguments were talking about the kind of if we left the EU overnight and nothing was set in place, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, we call that no deal Brexit because that is what no deal Brexit is. If we leave the EU overnight, literally on like if we leave on the 29th, I can't remember if we leave at like 1 a.m. in the morning or something stupid like that. Either the 29th or the 30th, whenever the morning arises and we have left the EU, if there's no deal, ships will not be able to dock, planes will not be able to land because there is not agreements on how that can be done. Even though yesterday it was just fine. Like on a political level, it should not happen. And that is terrifying because literally flow and trade for the UK were just freeze. So that's the worst case scenario. And again, people were talking about this in 2016 and it got labeled Project Fear. And then there were people saying, oh, but nobody's talking about leaving, like doing this. And slowly over time, we've gotten to more of a case of, well, nobody's talking about like just crashing out of the EU to, oh, maybe we can manage a no deal. And that's the really worrying thing. The good news about it, if anybody listening is really worried about no deal, don't be too worried because pretty much all of the political parties, aside from Theresa May, want to strongly opt out of a no deal Brexit. Theresa May in theory, Theresa May is only keeping it on the table to threaten the EU that we might do it so we can get a better deal.
Most insane thing.
Yeah, it's literally like putting a gun to our own heads and being like, you won't let us do this. You won't let us do it. But a lot of the country is getting really worried about it. And if you want to... and then there's a subset of people who are crazy and think that, we'll just leave, crash out. Yeah, basically anarchists and say, well, we'll figure it out. We're England. Which, I mean, hey.
I mean, back in, the 1700s, we might have been okay? When we owned half of the world?
Yeah, and again, this is the difficulty with how we are like trying to handle this situation. So yeah, but here's the scary thing about it. So, do you know? You've heard of Article 50? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Article 50 being the piece of legislation that went through. Theresa May put it through in the 29th of March 2017, and it has a 2-year period where at the end of that 2 years, by law, you've left the EU. Now, we have the European Court of Justice made a decision on it that because nobody had ever invoked Article 50 before, the European Court of Justice had to go through a bunch of things with it to see how does it actually work in practice. And one of the things they came to the agreement of is that the country that initiates it, or in this case us, or the UK, can unilaterally revoke it. We can revoke it without anybody saying anything, and it'll just go back to how it was.
But this is a lot of red faces at the table, basically.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, that would be And I just don't think that's going to happen at this stage. There's just been too much going on.
Okay, but this is where it gets so interesting, right? Because if Parliament does nothing, on the 29th of March, we crash out of the EU, and there's no deal, and it's the doomsday scenario that we were talking about. This doomsday scenario. If they revoke Article 50, it will be seen as going against the will of the people. But in a political situation, we will have lost nothing aside from the amount of time and efforts spent wasted on talking about it and taking it so seriously. Also, a very worrying thing, I don't know what happens in this case, we can only unilaterally revoke Article 50 in good faith. we cannot revoke it and then start it the next day to get another 2 years.
Oh, that would be hilarious if you could revoke it and just be like, well, we're going to try this again now.
I don't know how the European Court of Justice would hold us to that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure
that has to be like a cool down period, right? Because like if you could like revoke it and then file it the next day, like everyone would be doing that constantly to like threat.
Exactly. So we're going to see what happens with that. So, but here's the thing about it. So this is now we're getting back to like late 2018 now, and where things like are really interesting. Theresa May got a deal. Basically, the way a deal worked with the EU, we had to form a deal with. We formed a part of Parliament to make a deal, to draft a deal, of which we had 3 lead people quit over it because they couldn't actually do it. And then Theresa May took that deal to the EU Parliament. They then, to the EU 27. They then all discuss it, agree with it, or make amendments, and then they come to an agreement, and they accepted it. So we had a deal on the table, and this was the whole thing with the backstop that I mentioned earlier. Was that we'll leave everything, because that would be the start period of transitioning, because at the minute, no EU laws have stopped in the last 2 years. We've been living as if we were living in the EU. So if that deal was accepted from the 29th of March or the 30th of March, we would begin that transition, the transition that is agreed upon within that deal. And EU agreed to it. All that had to do to get through to be accepted and be a thing was for UK Parliament to accept it.
And they didn't.
And they didn't.
And then
for good reasons.
The vote of no confidence.
Yes. So this, oh man, again, I love all this. This is so interesting. Tell me to shut up if I'm talking.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. I love this.
Good stuff. So, this is so beautiful. So what happens is, right, Theresa May delays the vote. There was going to be a vote in the 11th of December, I think. And on the 11th of December, this is going to be the vote. This is where UK Parliament votes on whether we do it or not, whether we do this deal. And at that time, the EU had said, right, negotiations are done. We are happy with this deal. It's taken us 2 years to get here. We're happy with it. This is it. This is it or no deal. You have to and this is for you boys to decide, right? Go and take it home and sort it out amongst yourselves, sort of thing, right? So there was a record amount of losses that was going to be. This was foreseen as going to be the biggest historic vote loss in history. That's what historic means. So anyway, Theresa May took it back, and the deal was set to go under Parliament on the 11th of December. And the day before or the day of, she cancelled it. She said, "No, we're not going to do the vote today. We're going to wait." And the reason is that she knew it was going to fail, and she wanted to get reassurance from the EU 27 the backstop wouldn't be enforced, right? Because that's what everyone was talking about, was this backstop with Northern Ireland, which basically meant that we would stay part of the EU indefinitely until the Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland border could be sorted out, which in theory could never be sorted out unless politically we change. One way would be for Northern Ireland to leave the United Kingdom. And honestly, that if Brexit is going to happen in any real capacity now, it's probably going to be because England leaves the UK or Northern Ireland leaves the UK or some version of that. The UK dissolves as the United Kingdom, and we will be England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But that's quite far off still, I think. Where was I? Oh yeah, so that was the deal that was imposed, and May wanted to get reassurances from the EU 27 that they wouldn't use the backstop. It was an emergency only, that if we got to the end of the transition period and the Northern Ireland border still wasn't sorted, we stay in the transition period, where I don't know quite how that works, but that was the idea. So she went back and got it, and because she delayed the vote, she got a leadership challenge within her own party, or a vote of no. Is it called a vote of no confidence?
Yeah, that's what it was called.
There's been 2 votes of no confidence. That's why I'm trying to be clear on it. But yeah, this first one happened within her own party, and her own party had to basically say, she needed a majority vote to say, whether she could still, if she was still the leader, basically, if the party still believed in her enough to
You know what would
do
have been
what she needed to
crazy
do.
though is that if that vote of no confidence actually like came back as we have no confidence in this leader right now,
Yeah, yeah.
basically we would have had to go to another general election.
Okay, you're getting ahead of yourself here because within the party, within the party one, there wouldn't have been that. There would have been a leadership election within the Tory party. There would have been no general election. We would have had a new Tory leader. As far as I understand, we would have had a new Tory leader thing. This was back in December, by the way.
Yeah.
But she won, and I think the reason she won was because nobody wants it.
Yeah, no
Nobody
one
wants to
wants
be the
this.
person dealing with Brexit, which is actually one of the reasons why I'm glad Labour didn't win in 2017, the general election, because this would be all on their heads otherwise.
Yeah.
At the minute, politically, the EU referendum, the Brexit negotiations, and the coming to the end of the Brexit, it's all under Tory leadership. Like, there is no blame they could be placed already anywhere else. So, but we'll see. Anyway, that then led. So we had that leadership challenge. She survives. Everyone said May was going to die. She didn't because nobody wants to replace her. That's my logic anyway. So then we get to the deal actually taking place, and that took place only about a week ago on the 15th of, literally this week, the 15th of January. And it lost by about 230 votes, which is the biggest loss in history.
Landslide.
Yeah. I think it's the biggest, or if not, it's one of the biggest votes Parliament has ever like shut down the government on. Now, this invoked another vote of no confidence, but this time it was from Labour, and this is the one that would spurn a general election if a vote of no confidence was reached. So Labour so the majority of Parliament said, no, we don't believe in the government. We're going to have a vote, and literally all the Tories pulled together with the DUP, and they managed to just stay in. Are you aware of how the majority in government stands at the minute, by the way?
Yeah.
Like, it's only because the Tory and the DUP work together.
That was because of the last general election, wasn't it? Because
The snap election, in
the
2017.
snap election where May tried to grab more power and then lost power and then had to make a coalition with the DUP, not a coalition, but fucking.
So we were in the hilarious position where more than half of our own party and the DUP voted against her major deal on Brexit, which is the biggest single factor at the minute. And then the next day they turned around and voted for confidence in the government. It's one of the most beautiful things, like, politically, that you can't make this shit up.
The thing is, though, right, and I'm going to pivot a little bit here.
Go for it.
We are not the only one making a shit show of our government right now. Right.
Are we talking about America now?
Right, I've changed the subject. Let's talk about the US government.
Let's
talk about Trump.
Oh, man.
And our border wall, our border security.
And I'm going to like quickly hijack this. Final thing on the whole Brexit thing, I seriously hope we revoke it on the last day. It's going to come down to Parliament deciding, do we do nothing and let no Brexit happen, or do we go against the will of people?
They're going to revoke it. If they haven't got a deal by the last day, they're going to revoke it.
I completely agree. That's probably what's going to happen. Anyway, moving on to American politics.
So some shit has been happening in America too. We're not the only one like shitting all over politics right now.
Yeah, certainly not.
Oh my god, like Trump, what is happening over there?
They are in the longest government shutdown in US history.
In US history. I don't know what day it's on. I think it's on like day 28. I don't know. But like it's in the 20s. Which like it's crazy to me because like the last time the government shut down was under Obama, right? And that was because of the Healthcare Act.
Yep.
And the government, like, I can't remember how long the government was shut down, but everyone was, like, ragging on Obama for that because, like, it was like, oh, yeah, this is lack of leadership and things like this. But Trump has basically got no support for the wall. And it's basically, and has said multiple times that he will make this government shutdown go as
As
long
long.
as
Yeah.
possible until he gets his wall.
Yeah.
Which is like the most childish thing. It's basically a 7-year-old going, I want what I want, and like stamping his feet until he gets what he wants.
Honestly, I have no idea how they've managed to get to the situation. My favorite thing about this, there was an interview, and I don't know the other people involved. I think it was Schumer, who's like one of the Democratic Speaker of the House. I don't know how their politics works exactly, but they when the shutdown was like a week before the shutdown happened or started, they were talking. And they were talking on an interview, televised interview, and they were like saying, "Oh, okay, but you do understand, like this wouldn't be." He was like, "Oh, you." Trump was saying, "Oh, are you Democrats going to force me to shut down the government?"
I know, he was
And
trying to blame them.
what's great about this interview is that they turn around and goes, "Oh yeah, but wouldn't it be great if it was called the Trump shutdown?" And then he was like, "Yeah, you know what? It would be. It would be the Trump shutdown because he likes his own name too much."
Oh, God.
So it's been branded the Trump shutdown, and of course now he's trying to move away from that and blame the Democrats. It's like, why are you doing this? It's that meme of the guy shooting the fucking guy in the chair, and it's like, why do you make me do this? Like that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's insane to me. Did you see the pictures that came out from the White House the other day, by the way, of Trump? Like some college football, like American football team won a competition or like a cup or something, and they had a meal at the White House. Did you see this?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, it's great, right? Basically, they walk in and there's like this big buffet table, right? And you'd never guess what's on the buffet table.
It's all fast food takeaway
All
stuff.
fast food. It's McDonald's, Burger King, and Annie's. It's great. It's like the
Yes,
trashiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I have seen that picture, not with the football team there or whatever, but I've seen the picture of like the White House being decked out, and it's like
Silver
people like
plates with like fucking tomato sauce and Big Macs on them. It's just like, oh man.
yeah, that was like one of those ones where you don't know if it's photoshopped or not.
Oh, it was not Photoshop, my friend.
Is this real?
This was absolutely real. I just don't understand.
There's so much going on, and again with Trump, something came out the other day, and I don't know where this is going because I'm not following it as closely. But his lawyer, who has been indicted of,
Manafort.
not Manafort, Cohen, Michael Cohen.
Okay, yeah.
Another one. Yeah, there's a lot of people around Trump who've been indicted.
Well, the thing is like there's so many people like showing their faces and then going away again that you have to keep up with all of these names, and it's impossible.
It is really hard. So basically, Cohen is testifying against Trump to a certain degree, or basically he's thrown him under the bus and said that when he lied about the 2016 campaign and like was talking to the Russians about things, which has been confirmed now, like Michael Cohen was negotiating with Russians to get a Trump Tower in Moscow, like if he won the general election, stuff like that. But he's now said that he was directed by Trump to lie about not doing that, which goes onto the pile of shitty bad stuff that Trump has done. But this is one of the biggest direct implications.
Yeah. This is like the link that they need, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping again that if 2016 was the year of crazy and 2017, 2018 was like us like running around trying to like put the fires out. 2019 is when Brexit gets revoked. There's no Article 50. Article 50 gets revoked, sorry, and Trump gets impeached, and we can go back to like living in a bit more of a normal world.
Do you think that will actually happen though? Like I've gone back and forth on this so many times because I just don't see it happening.
So yeah, the whole impeachment thing is it's
a really complex thing to do.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. What I don't understand is, and I'm paraphrasing here a bit here. This is a bit of a disingenuous argument. What I don't understand is how a Democrat, Bill Clinton, got a blowjob in the White House and got impeached. Trump shut the government down, has been dealing with the Russians, hasn't disclosed his businesses or like stopped running his businesses, even though he is now president and has a conflict of interest. He's done so many things, and Bill Clinton got a blowjob and got impeached for that. Like, and okay, and I will be straight up here. Bill Clinton actually got impeached for perjury because he lied about getting a blowjob. That was really the thing. Like, let's be honest about it. But still, Trump is. I'm pretty sure they like it's. He's gonna. Oh man,
Yeah,
I didn't think he would
gotten
make
away
it.
with so much shit under like his watch. And the thing is, like, people like have blamed like, oh yeah, Trump has just like inherited this from Obama or like the Democrats or whatever. But it's been like what, 2-3 years? You can't keep on using the same excuse. Like,
Yeah, it's. I mean, at first, I never thought he'd make it through his first year,
no, I didn't either. To be fair.
and at the time, I said if he gets through his first year, I don't think he'll be stopped until re-election. I think he'll get through the first term. I'm not as sure on that anymore.
No,
But
I'm not. I think like he'll just serve his term, and then maybe he'll lose. Like I've been back and forth on this, and I think if he ran again, I think he would get back in,
oh,
and that would be like the worst thing for America to like put him back in the White House after the total and utter embarrassment that he has been.
yeah, but like again, the American system is very like dense, is what I would say.
Oh yeah, it's very dense.
And again, this is not. I will make jabs at Americans being stupid all the time because, goddamn, I will do it. But not in this case. That's not like the main thing. I would say it's just like a lot of like rural Republican Americans who have been Republican their whole lives, and I vote that way because my daddy did. So stuff like that. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea like of what Trump's being accused of what he's doing. How the
Yeah, they're burying their head in the sand, basically.
yeah, like they have no idea of like the international thing. They see Trump show up, talk about immigrants being bad, and like prying on these fears of like really like not superficial things, but like things that are being way blown out of proportion.
Mm.
And they're like, well, damn, he's the man we want. And again, it's
Well,
like
it was crazy. There was a this was a while ago, but there was like a vote for like a general, like not a general election, like a state election or wherever. I can't remember where it was, but there was someone who, oh man, I don't remember enough of the details to rant about it. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
well, if it comes back, cut me up. But the biggest problem with one of the biggest problems I think with American politics is gerrymandering, which is where a constituent.
That's insane.
The biggest problem with it is that they shoot themselves in the foot with it, and it breeds extremism basically. Because what you end up happening is now in America, you don't have states where the competition is between the Republican or the Democrat to win the state. The competition is between, if it's a Republican state, the competition is between the more extreme Republican. It's the how moderate can this Republican be without getting outclassed by somebody who's more crazy.
Yeah.
And that is it. Because when you put all the crazy voters in one place, and then you come along with moderate ideas that are still conservative, still Republican, but then you get like somebody who's like more extreme saying that they'll do even more crazy stuff. And because you put all the crazy people in one voting constituency, they're like, yeah, we like that guy actually. So it doesn't become a race about whether it's Republican or Democrat. It becomes a race of how far will the views swing within that branch. Like how far will the conservative radar swing? And I'm sure it's the same for the Democratic ones. So I know less about that. But yeah, and again, there's a huge rift in America, and not just America. I think in England as well. But like politics is like.
I think there's rifts happening a lot now, just because like immigration like is becoming such a big talking point. I think.
which again I don't understand why. Like, there's so it's really weird to me. I don't know the American situation well enough to like really talk about it, but when they talk about like a caravan of migrants coming, and it's like a caravan of like a couple of hundred to a couple thousand people, which don't get me wrong, that's not nothing, but they send out they spend like 200 they send however many millions like moving a bunch of troops down to the border like a month before the caravan could possibly be there as like a stunt, and it's like, and I don't know. Here's the thing that really gets me about it. I don't know if this is all puppetry from the higher ups in America, going, "Oh yeah, this will get people talking, get people really scared, so they'll be on side with us about it," or if it is like actually Trump doing this, and Trump is just so fucking stupid, and that he doesn't know that he's being stupidly ineffective.
Yeah.
With what he's trying to do, but he is.
I genuinely don't know anymore, and that's
I
what
don't
scares
know
me.
either. Yeah, it's really like worrying in that sense. So yeah, it's we'll see like what happens, but yeah, if can Trump make it to the end of his term? I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be
think so.
surprised, but
Yeah,
but once he
I
gets
wouldn't
out
be
of office,
surprised.
yeah, but the real question is, will he die before all of his like shit catches up with him? That's like the question that I pose now.
How old is Trump?
He's 76. He's quite old. He's the oldest standing president, I think, and he's aside from the fact that he doesn't drink alcohol, he lives a pretty unhealthy lifestyle.
Oh God. Yeah.
So again, it's really interesting to see. Like, I do not want Trump to die in office. I think that's one of the worst things that could happen because it will vindicate a lot of the shit. I think it might not. It might break people.
Yeah, I think like that and like assassination.
Yeah, no, that would be awful.
That would be like the worst outcome here.
Yeah, if he becomes a martyr for like his core
exactly.
base, that'll be the absolute worst thing.
Because like, then as soon as that happens, you know people are going to use that as some kind of, oh look, like we finally got someone in the White House that was effective, and they took him off from us.
Exactly, and hell, I like JFK.
Yeah, people use him as a martyr, basically.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying he was a bad president. I actually don't know a lot of what he did, but just the fact that he went down in history as someone who was publicly assassinated, and the impact that has had on his legacy is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a really interesting one. Trump needs to go down disgracefully. Ideally, he needs to go down disgracefully in the eyes of his core, though.
Yeah.
He's already disgraceful to everyone else.
Why I want him, I want to see an impeachment just so that, we can finally close the book on this. But I don't think it's going to happen this term. I doubt that he's going to be re-elected. So I think what's going to happen is that he's going to play out the rest of his term and then get arrested after someone else is in the White House, and then people are just going to forget that he was a thing. But the crazy thing is, right, and this is one thing that I've been thinking about recently is and this is really stupid, but do you remember when you were in school, right, and you got these, this is a really weird thing to think about.
No, I love it. Keep going.
You got these really old dusty books, right, and then you read these things about 1930s Germany, right?
Yep.
And what the government was like back then in Germany.
Yeah.
And it feels so disconnected.
Yep.
But then you see what's happening with Brexit, with the US government, and you're like, this will be in the history books.
Yes, I have thought exactly that. This is part of what makes it exciting for me, because this is something where
we are living through
history. Yes. I've said this to
People
people
will
before.
learn about this in like people will actually have to study this.
Yes, that's exactly the one I used. Is that one day this will be a question. This will be like a 40-mark answer on like an essay question on a
That's
test somewhere.
insane to me. Like
And that was like,
what geopolitical reasons or what geopolitical conditions did former President Donald Trump win his presidency under? I was like, 40-mark question, go.
yeah, that's it. And you could write like right now. I feel like I could write something like
I
that.
know, it's fucking crazy. It's
But
crazy
yeah,
to me.
when I did that on Nazi Germany or like the or Russian Socialist Russia or the Soviet Union, I should say. Yeah, like if again, I was exactly like you. It felt a million miles away, like disconnected and like yeah. But these things happened like not that long ago. Like we could foreseeably have grandkids who would like come back with homework, and it would be like, holy shit, I lived through that.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, like
Oh,
that's
that's nuts. Just imagine your kid coming, like your grandson coming to you one day and it's just like, oh, Papa Exo, Papa Exo. Can you help me with this question? And it's all about like fucking, the fucking border in Ireland.
and I'll be just like shedding a tear, and I'll be like, do you know this thing called the Good Friday Agreement? Let me tell you a story.
Let me load up Depot Show.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, you raise a good point there. With like first-hand sources of this kind of historical context is going to be ripe. You know, like there's going to be more first-hand sources preserved
Yeah,
of the historic events that are happening now for the
as they're
future.
happening.
So yeah, like God knows how it's going to even be. Like social media in the future, I'm super interested in seeing like what will happen with social media and how it will be deemed like probably bad for us at a certain point. And I hope I live long enough to see the results of what social media has done to the society, the good and the bad, and how that will affect like things like this. Like because when people look back on history, like it's very easy to change your mind or to like sometimes you get people who like Germany is a good example. People who were growing up in Nazi Germany, and then when they lost the war and like the what was the treaty that came in after that?
Versailles.
Versailles, yeah, that's it. And obviously the German people at that point were like, wow, yeah, this was a horrible thing. We would never have done that. But then, like, just a generation before, they were the people that were involved in it all, right?
Yeah.
And again, not to say that everybody in Germany was a Nazi at that point, but that were the party in power. You could easily look back at America now and say, oh yeah, they were all like Trump fascists or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And
But
so,
then-
but there's
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because, like, when we look back, like, at that period in Germany, we can say, like, oh, yeah, the entire country was like that. And, of course,
Yeah.
it wasn't. But, like, when people look back in, like, 20, 30 years, like, will they find the YouTube videos of people, like, condemning this man? Or will they...
exactly.
Like, it's interesting to me because, like, the truest statement for me is that the winners write history.
Ah, yes.
And
That's
you know,
brilliant.
it's true in so many ways because, like, the winners get to decide the bad guys.
Yeah.
So whoever, like, is there a winning condition here? Who is going to win? Like, who will they paint as the bad guy?
I don't know. Like, if Trump goes down in impeachment or if he resigns
Yeah,
to
then
avoid
he'll
getting
be going
impeached,
down as the bad guy.
100%. Richard Nixon, he'll be Nixon the second, as it were. Like, which I mean, the joke is that he's speed running the Nixon presidency.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a joke I've seen a few times go around. Um, Again, bear in mind that it took Nick. There was 9 months between the Watergate scandal and Nixon actually getting or actually resigning. Um, and yeah, so again, history moves slowly when you're living through it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
again, we'll
The
see what
thing
happens.
is like, I don't know all of the details of Watergate, but I've been told, like, compared to Watergate was nothing compared to this. Like,
Yeah, this is the bit where so you check Reddit as well, don't you? You're
yeah,
like
yeah.
reading accurate. Here's what I do with American politics nowadays, especially when it comes to Trump, is if there's something really bad
Browse
saying
Arthur Donald.
no, I know I browse world news.
Ooh.
If it gets onto world news and it's about Trump in America, I'm like, okay, this is serious. But otherwise, if it's on r/politics, I'm just like, okay, this is just another thing where like probably is some truth in it and there's probably something going on, but it's not like a big story yet. This is how I found out about the Michael Cohen thing the other day, is that people were talking about on r/politics, they were talking about oh yeah, he was directed to lie by Trump and this implicates him as this. And then it was on world news. Michael Cohen, the previous lawyer of Trump, as you know, is testifying that he was directed to lie. And I was like, oh shit, this is real now.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how I do it. But yeah, I'm completely with you. The only thing worse that Nixon has done, and this is one of the big things that got him done, was it's nicknamed the Saturday Night Massacre, because on a Saturday night he told somebody to fire. Basically, if Trump told someone to fire Mueller, yeah,
Mueller, yeah.
guy who's doing the investigation, and that guy said no, so Trump fired him, and then the next guy who come up was like, okay, now you fire Mueller, and that guy said no, and then Trump was like, okay, you're fired, and then the third guy actually fired Mueller. That would be what Richard Nixon
Yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah.
Richard Nixon fired directly two people in order to get the third person in the chain to fire the guy who was investigating him, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And that was what
the
did it.
nuts thing is like, Trump has already like directly fired one person that was
Yeah.
investigating him, Comey, and like,
Yeah.
and to be honest,
I
I was shocked that he hasn't tried to do it with Mueller because he has the power to do this. But
absolutely.
it would be horrendous for him to do this.
Well, the thing with the Comey was really interesting because he basically said on an interview, "Yeah, I didn't want him investigating me, and that was why I fired him. It was my decision. There was nothing else." And then they like retcon that and
Yeah,
said
they
that,
backpedaled so hard.
yeah, oh,
And
it
it
was
was like,
because
oh, no
he
one
did,
liked him.
yeah. But also he got away with that more because the um, the Republicans controlled the House at that point, and the House have to
Yes.
initiate the impeachment proceedings. So if Democrats were running the House at that point, then maybe they would have started impeachment proceedings.
Yeah, maybe.
But I also don't know why they haven't done it yet, though, because they are now running the House, but the government is in shutdown, so I don't know how things work. Uh,
Yeah. I know
like
there's
that.
certain branches of the government still operating, and like
Well,
some of them.
yeah,
Not,
they're just
but
not being paid, but I don't know
yeah,
how it actually operates day to day. Also, if you're an officer in America, ouch, I feel so sorry for you right now. Like, you're basically missing a month's pay because
because
I don't know what the reason is. Yeah.
because of a wall.
Oh wow. We're gonna build it. It just got 10 feet higher, boys.
Oh yeah, it's just
man.
nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, I don't know,
So,
but all but
question: how do you
go
see
on.
this ending? Because like, there's so much like theory crafting going on. Like, one thing that I agree with is that no matter what happens, Trump will claim it as a victory.
Absolutely. Like, Trump's motif is that it's only a failure if you admit it's a failure,
Yeah,
and it works for him.
it
Like,
does.
it's really frustrating, but that is what works for him. The way I see it is that historically he will go down as an awful president and as basically a terrible person, like who tried to fuck over America, but didn't succeed. That's pretty much how it's going to be remembered. But the frustrating part for me is that in 20, 30 years' time, there will be unless there is major political reform in America, there'll be somebody else just like Trump who gets in office.
Yeah,
and basically does the same thing again.
Yeah,
You
one
could
thing
say,
that I dislike is that if Trump does play out the rest of his term, he's basically a platform for
yes,
other people like Trump.
and you can say it started with Reagan. Ronald Reagan kind of started this
Yeah,
trend,
because
like
yeah,
being a celebrity, having shady reasons for being in politics. I actually don't know much about Reagan though. And then George Bush. Again, a lot of the Republican presidents in the last like 30 years have been pretty awful, and it's like the public forgets basically.
yeah. Well,
They
one thing I don't like about Bush,
Mhm.
who was like the most recent Bush, I don't know because there's like one Bush which is George
There's
W.
junior and
Bush.
senior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
junior. I'm talking about. Is
Yeah, the
like
2000.
now he's seen as like this cuddly, like, oh yeah, you're a
Yes,
friend
I hate
kind
this
of
as well.
president. He is like he
Who-
caused the world's worst foreign crisis
Yeah.
ever. Like, please remember
And
this. It
what
wasn't that long
frustrates
ago.
what frustrates me about it is there like is so much of that, and shit like that gets pinned on Obama, which blows my fucking mind. It's like, when did the financial crisis happen, and when did Obama like take office? And it's like, okay, yeah, he definitely caused that. And oh god, the saddest one for me, this is absolutely sad, because somebody was basically taking the mick out of somebody, like a Republican supporter. This was back when Obama was president, and they were talking about the 9/11, 2001 9/11, right? And basically, they were talking to a Republican guy about it, and they were like, "So yeah, do you think Obama could have done something to prevent it, to stop it?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, I really think the government should have taken better precautions and that, and it was Obama's fault, basically." And it's like, fuck, man, that was 2001. He took office in 2008. That's not like the financial crisis, which like started like the housing crisis.
2006?
Yeah. The housing crisis started in 2006, and there was a massive recession in 2008. I can at least understand why they kind of could like conflate that to Obama, because as soon as he took office, there was literally a recession,
Yeah.
which he couldn't have caused that, but I can at least see why they do that. But fucking 9/11,
Yeah,
oh
2001
man,
is a bit too far of a reach.
and you know what, that might be like a really bad example, but just the fact that like they got this guy, and this guy genuinely believed it, like, oh man, that's so painful. But yeah, how I see it going out is that unless there's major political reform, there will be history will repeat itself, and Trump's shit will eventually catch up with him. It's just about whether it catches up with him when he's in office or not. That's my take. What's your take? Do you have a take on it?
Yeah, I think my take is basically the same as yours, is that his shit will eventually catch up with him, but I don't think it will be when he's in office. I don't think, like, as much as I fear it, I don't think he's going to get re-elected.
Yeah, that's I'm actually
happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We will see. I don't know who's going to oppose him, because
well, this is the thing. This is the big thing right now, is like, who in the Democrat Party can run against Trump? And like, everyone's like, oh yeah, anyone can, anyone with a stable platform. But the thing is like, the Democrats right now are just scrambling around to try and find someone to actually represent their party, because like last election, I don't know how much people still remember about it, but like there was like the whole Bernie Hillary thing, and it wasn't until like the last major decision point that they finally went with Hillary, which was like the complete wrong decision in my eyes. But
yeah, but the thing is, it was one of those horrible things as well, where during the primaries or whatever they call it, Bernie started off as a real slow burner, like a slow burner. He started off as somebody, he didn't have a lot of traction. He built traction throughout the campaign, and that was like the biggest thing. If he had if people knew about him, like at the start of the campaign, like they did at the end, he very possibly could have won it. But then the Democrats have this stupid thing. What's it called? Not a super PAC. What's it called? Super delegates or something. Which is just like, they get to vote on who they want regardless. It's a really weird system that the Republicans don't have. I don't know why this is a thing. And they were all locked in for Hillary from like day one.
Yeah, it was
So
so dumb.
the odds
That
were
was
stacked
very
against them.
ill-advised. But the thing is like, when the next presidential election comes about, who do the Democrats vote for? Because like Bernie's getting on a bit. Like
I don't think he's even going to campaign for it.
no, he's probably not, because he hates the Democratic Party. Like hates them with a passion. After what they did to him in 2016, like the only other candidate that I've heard about, and let's be fair, like I don't follow it that closely, so there might be others,
fair.
but I think like there's one of Kennedy's kids, or like
Some
cousins,
yeah.
like distant relative of Kennedy.
Jesus, I have no idea. I've not heard anything yet, and when it comes a bit closer, I will definitely start. Like America do like to take like a full year for their election cycle, so we will probably start hearing about it pretty soon.
Yeah, that's true.
But
because it's in
yeah,
2020, right? Or 2021?
yeah, no, 2020,
2020.
4 years for America, so
Yeah,
2016, 2020. But that's when the vote happens. Obviously, the new guy will take office.
Yeah, it will be in 2021.
January 2021. Yeah, it's really interesting to see what will happen, but I don't know who comes forward, because it won't be Hillary again.
Well, she's said that she would be interested in running again, which I think would be a huge mistake, because her platform has only worsened.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think Hillary has had a horribly besmirched name in American politics.
Yes, especially with her husband.
Yeah. I really hope that history remembers, like, at least balances that fucking shit out, because god damn it, that's like it's actually disgusting. Kind of like, oh god, I hate people when people use the word disgusting and then not talking about being put off food. God damn it, I did it myself. But it's really bad that that what they've done to Hillary, and I hope she is actually remembered as at least a reasonable candidate. But yeah, I don't think she should run again. And yeah, that's that. I don't know, and I don't think Bernie can. Because he's older than Trump anyway.
Yeah.
So
I just don't think he will.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him for not either. So yeah, it'll be really. He would be a great campaign advisor, though. I think.
Yeah, he
for
would.
For the Democratic Party, if they get somebody like to go behind well. But I think they need someone like fairly fresh faced, like without a bunch of like. Put it this way, right? Again, it's with the political activism that's been happening in the last few years, and the amount of how energized the Democratic Party
sphere has been.
Yeah, there's more likely to be a better turnout for Democrats this year.
Yeah.
And so it's likely going to be that they can get the numbers, as long as they can get somebody who can't be like just viciously beaten down by the Republican Party in terms of like a smear campaign.
Yeah.
Because that American politics,
anyone like that, like finding anyone without like one like skeleton in their closet is so hard these days.
Well, I mean, yeah, and even that doesn't really matter, because and I'm bringing back to UK politics for a split second. Ed Miliband, what did they get him on? How he ate a bacon sandwich. That's all they could get him on. But it fucking it worked, or it worked enough.
Every time, like, I fucking hate this. Like, every time, like, I hate Theresa May. Like, but like every time she goes and talks or something, she does like these really awkward like body movements. Like she was in like a country and she danced with the locals, and then she was up on stage and she like strutted on stage and like that's what people talk about, and it's like, don't talk about that. Talk about what she said.
Yeah. Oh man. No, but that's right. Like the Ed Miliband one was fucking horrible as well. Like when I saw that, because I wasn't very politically engaged at that point. But when I saw that, I was like, even then, I was like, is that all they've got on him? Is that really what they're saying? And yeah,
it's weird. It's weird how he eats a sandwich.
But again, like Corbyn's been smeared pretty horribly in thing.
Oh,
I don't like
massively.
his Brexit positions, but like I think he's been horribly smeared as well. But yeah, like man, social media is one thing, but the actual media being distrustful and like what's the term? Not radicalizing, basically.
Yeah.
Like we live in a world where the news cycle is to radicalize the people who disagree with us. Sorry, is to be radicalized because we disagree with people. Basically, it's like if you're a reader of the Sun, then you fucking hate Corbyn because he's done X, Y, and Z, and with completely ignoring what your political party are actually doing. Like, isn't that supposed to be the point of why? Like, it seems we've gotten to a point with politics where we vote based on who we hate least.
Yeah.
We're voting against the people we hate the most. That's the main pull.
Well, this is again why I hate this 2016 thing, because like people look at it as if it's like some kind of sports event, like they're trying to win. As long as my team wins and their team loses, it's like it's not that.
That's again with American politics. It's very family orientated. Is that they vote because their parents voted for this thing. Like there's a lot less. I mean, I'm sure it happens in England as well. Like though my family was very apathetic towards politics, so I didn't really grow up in that kind of household. But yeah, you get this kind of stuff happening. I don't know how. I don't know, man. It's really weird. But yeah, there needs to be like, I mean, hell, even if they just, this is like a suggestion that I saw in some politics thread, that they should take away what party each person stands for in a thing. So it doesn't say Donald Trump Republican or Hillary Clinton Democrat. It says whoever this new person is. Do you want to vote for them? And because literally, if you don't know what party they represent, you shouldn't be voting.
That
basically
would be an awesome idea. I don't think it would ever happen.
No.
But that would be an amazing idea if it was just like, vote for person X, they represent these viewpoints, or vote for person Y, these are their policies. Like, that would be like the greatest form of politics, in my opinion.
I mean, hell, if you could actually break it down simply enough without it being like the biggest problem is then who writes the questions or who writes like how it is. That's
and
the bit that can
personal bias affect it. And
essentially, you could remove the name of the person at that point. Is like, what policies do you want to vote for? Do you want, because then it doesn't even become about a person. This is something with with presidents of America, especially because they're so fucking famous. I like Barack Obama. Don't get me wrong; he did good stuff and sort of thing. But it was the Democratic Party that did everything. It wasn't like he wasn't just like a one-man army. Same with George W. Bush. Like they're not just. It's not just the one person who rules the country and the party.
This is like when people like praise actors for a film being good, and it's just like, no, there was more than this one person doing this.
Yeah, there was directors and screenwriters and so it's frustrating. It's kind of frustrating with even UK politics, even though I think it's clearer that we vote for a party, not like a person.
Yes.
But then I knew a lot of people, my dad included, who's never really voted but has always been on the side of Labour, who didn't want to vote, who wouldn't have voted for Labour if he did vote, because he didn't like Corbyn, because Corbyn had been smeared. So it does come around, but that's a very niche kind of example. But yeah, so it's the actual shameful thing is that after getting into politics, after Ed Miliband had already lost and like left the Labour Party or like lost leadership, so I think I actually found out that I agree a lot with his things, and he would have actually been a really good leader. But hey,
I didn't know much about his politics, to be fair.
Yeah, he seemed to have
Thatcher is not liked.
Yeah. The other thing that I find super interesting and also which will come up in these history books and come up as like one of those 40-mark essay questions. It's like, how did like the representation of our government in the last 8 years has been awful for the United Kingdom. 2010 we had a hung parliament, and we had that coalition with the Lib Dems. And then 2015, the Tories won with a majority, and that was the most misrepresented election in UK history.
Yeah,
they got like the least amount of votes compared to the amount of seats they got ever recorded. It was like less. It was like barely 30% of votes, but like 55% of seats.
yeah, we have not been very good with that.
Well, first past the post is a horrible thing for that. And what makes it worse, and again, I wasn't politically aware at the time this come up, and I wish I was. We had a vote, we had a referendum of all things on alternative vote, which is not first past the post, which is basically where you get to vote for a party and then you get to say, okay, if that party loses, I vote for this party instead.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a referendum on that in 2011. And both parties in the government smeared it because they knew it would just make them weaker.
Yes.
And it's so hard. That hurts so much. I wasn't politically aware. I didn't even know that referendum happened until earlier this.
Didn't know until you just said, but I would have way voted for that at the time.
Exactly. Now that, and we probably won't get another opportunity for God knows how many years. So that's really painful that we came close to at least partially fixing the fucking balls. Because this is one of those funny things where in alternative history, if you go back to 2000 and George W. Bush doesn't win the election, which he shouldn't have won because the popular vote he actually lost to Al Gore. Again, you know how Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary in 2016? Yeah, George W. Bush lost it to Al Gore in 2000.
Yeah, but the weirder thing about the George Bush bit was that the Supreme Court had to basically choose a president because it was that close.
Oh wow! I didn't.
But then there was this huge moral thing of I think the Supreme Court were questioning themselves on whether they had the power to elect a president, and it got real messy.
I bet, but that's one of those things where if that had happened, would they have invaded Iraq in 2004? Mm-hmm. Would Syria and ISIS be a thing? Because you can trace it back to that. And the same thing, if the alternative vote referendum had passed in 2011, in 2015 we wouldn't have got a misrepresented government that had promised an EU referendum. It's likely we wouldn't have got that. Because the only reason they promised an EU referendum was to get UKIP voters to vote Tory.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that because everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we won a referendum on Europe."
So yeah, it's really crazy. Again, it makes it so much more real that in recent memory, we can see things that would have changed completely how the politics of the day, and that's scary in a way. It's a beautifully horrific beast. It's like watching a horror film where you can't take your eyes off the monster.
Yeah, it is like you say though. History moves slowly when you're living through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as we say, this will be this is part of history, whether we like it or not. Yeah,
I do genuinely wonder if again, depending on how the Brexit thing goes, if things like the alternative vote thing and if the representation of elections in the years before leading up to the whole Brexit thing, if that ever is considered in history, it'd be interesting if it was. Though because of Brexit is such a big thing by itself, I doubt it will. Yeah, it's just crazy. We'll see. Like I say, the dream might happen this year. Trump gets impeached. Article 50 gets revoked. We go back to sanity.
2019 is the year.
Yeah. But the other thing about it is that is like the civil unrest that'll happen if Brexit gets revoked. But it's 52 to 48. Half the country is going to be upset either way. It will come down to Parliament being like,
Well, it was interesting because, like I was saying when you were away, half an hour ago or wherever, when you talked about Brexit, that this reminds me a lot of the Scottish independence vote.
oh yeah, that's another big thing which nearly could have swung everything out. Oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah,
I forgot.
because that was like, if I remember properly, that was horrendously close. That was like 53-47 or something.
That was something like that. That was really close as well.
Hideously close. And they were like, "Oh, it was so close that we're gonna do it again."
Yeah, and they want again. If Brexit happens, I don't know what Scotland will do, but man, I feel sorry for.
One of the terms that they voted to
Yeah,
remain was because we were going to remain in the EU.
Yep.
Because I remember back in the day when they were talking about independence, one of the big things is that if they left the UK, then they would have to enter the EU as a separate entity.
They would have to apply for EU status. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like this is why when the Brexit vote happened, a lot of people said, or there was some people who said that this will be the dissolution. This will be the thing that dissolves the United Kingdom. It will, and England and Wales will stay stay together, but Northern Ireland and Scotland will probably go, and like the United Kingdom won't be the United Kingdom anymore.
That would be nuts, but I wouldn't put it past
No,
people at this point.
Yeah, again, I don't think that'll happen. It seems to like no one's really considered it in Parliament. Like they're considering no deal and they're considering revoking Article 50, but nobody's considered. Do you know what? If we just cut off Northern Ireland, it would make things a lot simpler. I mean, it would. And what do we get? The main people in Northern Ireland who have a voice at the minute are the DUP.
Oh,
you know what?
Yeah.
We don't like them. Get fucking rid of them. Anyway, that's the pragmatic side of me. I don't want Brexit to happen, but I'm saying if I did want Brexit to happen, I'd want to get rid of Northern Ireland. All right, and just makes things easier. If I was Theresa May, I'd be like, all right, Northern Ireland, you had a good run. Why don't you try being with the rest of Ireland?
Jesus, do you want another island war?
Well, but it wouldn't be our problem at that point. That seems to be the logic of Brexiteers. Is that, well, we'll be running ourselves, so fuck you guys.
Brilliant.
So, but yeah, in all seriousness, it's a very difficult situation.
Just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna let this pack of wolves into this pen of sheep. What happens next? Who knows? It's not my problem.
Hey, will of the people, you voted for this. Will of the people.
Did I vote for this?
Hey, apparently voting leave was a blank check for Brexiteers to do whatever they want. So yes. And what actually hurt, what I say actually hurts, what kind of worries me and scares me is that if Theresa May or the Tory party did actually take that stance, there would be at least a subset core of like their party who would be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck Northern Ireland. You know what? We should be independent. And it would actually, I believe there would be a subset because think about it, right? If you take away the EU, like, what's to actually stop you taking away from Ireland? Because again, this comes down to a thing of England being great.
Yeah,
like they've been very careful to keep it. Oh yeah, this is about the United Kingdom, but really this is about England. Scotland doesn't want to leave. I don't actually know what happened.
Interestingly, I think Wales voted to leave.
Okay.
Scotland will remain, and I think Northern Ireland will remain.
Oh wow!
So it's only England and Wales.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't ever see England and Wales splitting because
the problem is that Wales is too small of a country to function on its own.
It really neither. But I don't know. Maybe they would vote to leave. Yeah, that's how I should start explaining this to people. Is like when people say, oh yeah, but the European Union, this 500 million, subset of people on land, they need us more than we need them. I'd be like, yeah, what if Wales turned around and said, we're gonna leave England, we're gonna leave the United Kingdom? Fuck you guys. Like, would be like, and they were like, you need us more than we need you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what it sounds like. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they do not need us.
More than we
Because
need
the
them.
thing is like Germany is the big player
Yeah.
in the EU. Like the
Absolutely.
UK is such a small player in that space. Like it
I mean,
contributes, but not that much. Not compared to Germany.
yeah, and that's hard to tell people, but yeah. We are for our size, we are like an economic powerhouse,
Oh
and
yeah.
the pound is like still a good thing. Like, let's not take it away from it. But yeah, like, to think that that the combined might of Germany, France, as well as all the other sort of EU countries,
Yeah,
like
Spain, Italy.
yeah, Gibraltar. Oh my God, Gibraltar is a whole other issue as well. The sovereignty of Gibraltar coming up.
Oh, Gibraltar.
But honestly, I've never really cared about Gibraltar. I don't understand or know enough about it to know
No, neither do
why
I.
we.
This is like the Falklands all over again.
Yeah, why the fuck do we own a random part of Spain? I don't know. Imperialism,
Yes, well, the UK used to own a lot of
yeah,
places. Like,
the
I think
world.
like we're slowly like releasing them to the correct owner, but
Yeah,
like it's going to take a long time. But yeah, we still own like random pieces of land.
yeah.
But the problem there being is that the people who were born there have known nothing else, so they kind of want to be British citizens.
And yeah, you can understand that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
my favorite thing is that and this is like the backhanded compliment of England is that, or the United Kingdom, the British Empire, I should say, is that you can look at most countries around the world that celebrate independence, and most of the time they celebrate independence from us. Like, most countries that celebrate an Independence Day, it's because they've got independent from the British Empire.
Yeah.
Which is a neat little backhanded compliment. Yeah.
All we can say is we're sorry.
Yeah, we're really sorry. Oh man. What? Well, yeah. That was. Is that the politics
I
section
think
done? Is there
that's
anything else?
over. Let's talk about something else. What do you want to talk about, my friend? One more thing.
Have you played Dark Souls 3? I was going to ask you this earlier.
Dark Souls 3.
What are you...
I'm changing the subject, my friend.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I thought you were Googling it, like, what is Dark Souls 3? I was like, what?
I have not played Dark Souls 3.
Oh, okay. My a colleague at work has he loves the Bloodborne games, and he's now playing through all the Dark Souls, and he's just finished 3, and he told me I've got to play
still
it.
haven't like completed fully Dark Souls 1.
Honestly, I'm struggling with 3, and I think it's for the same sort of reasons. It's just that anytime I die, and I'm like, I really can't be bothered just to run back to where I was.
Yeah.
Like, each death
is
is
like I got to a point where I was like really enjoying Dark Souls, but then like every time I come across like a bit that I can't do, like I just die constantly. I just like it's just like why am I bothering? Like
yeah. I know, I'm really demotivated, man. And probably something that you experienced with Dark Souls 1, I imagine, is that you get to this point where you're like, okay, well, where the fuck do I go now?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm like that with Dark
Souls
Souls 3.
Thing in Dark Souls 1 because I remember like having to ask you like constantly when the game like gives you a decision to like what is it? It's going through the forest and it's like you have to beat up on a butterfly or you have to beat up on a hydra, but really that's not the place that you want to be.
No.
You have to be somewhere completely different.
Yeah, and actually that for that stage of the game where you were at, it was completely optional. You didn't even need to be there.
I
Like
know,
that,
yeah,
you
exactly.
need to
It's
go
like
there
I
later
didn't even
on.
need to be in the place I
Yeah,
was, even though like everything in the game was basically forcing me into that location.
yeah.
I
Because
think
if you haven't, oh, go on.
no, I was just going to say where I was in like the place with the snakes.
The
Now,
snakes. Oh right, yeah. No, yeah, yeah. Like I love Dark Souls, and I've played it enough that I know like all the areas and how to get from one place to the other. But starting Dark Souls 3 and like having to like learn a new map and being like, and then there's new enemies with new gimmicks, and I'm just like, I get you, man. I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? Sometimes, so yeah.
there's a
I'm
hell of
think,
a lot of where the fuck do I go ism about Dark
yeah,
Souls, and I get that people enjoy that. I don't personally enjoy that. I like to be like guided in some sort of way to like
yeah.
this is the place that you need to be, because I find like when I'm not told where I need to be, I'm just more confused, and
What?
I just put down the game at that point, and I'm just like, well, this was shit. Like it
And
spoils my experience.
yeah, and Dark Souls is really bad at communicating because I don't mind not having a quest marker or anything like that or or a map, right? Provided because I really enjoyed The Witcher, which I didn't actually complete, but I really enjoyed The Witcher because you could talk to people and they would tell you where to go, and they would like pretty much give you directions if you really needed it. Like, oh, that's the village that's behind this village, which is west of this castle. And like you can at least you can go off of that, but Dark Souls is like you have to ring two bells. And that's it. That's like go. And I know where the bells are, and I'm fine with that. But Dark Souls 3, I'm now in that same position again, where it's like, well, you must find the Lords of Cinder. I was like, yeah, I know that. But
Where are they?
when I beat this boss, I ended up in a pit, and there's nowhere to go from here, and there's like no other branching paths. Where the fuck do I go? Obviously, there is a branching path. I haven't found it yet, but like yeah, so I get your frustration. I'm thinking about speed running Dark Souls 3 if I can actually complete it casually, but we'll see. Because some of the bosses look really awesome, and the routing of it looks like it could be very interesting. But it's such a commitment to learn it all. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've been like, for some reason, I've been really back and forth on the whole speedrunning thing. Like,
Oh, okay, fair.
one of the things that I kind of want to do right now is start streaming again, and that's why like I wanted to live stream this, but like I
Nice,
wanted
fair.
to get into it like once or twice a week, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
doing more casual Steam games.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
I was like, okay, if I'm going to restart doing live streams, do I want to get back into speedrunning? And like I've been like back and forth on it, and I was just like, in one mindset, I do want to get back into it because I know I really enjoy it. But
Yeah.
on another mindset, I just don't want to be spending that much time
Yeah.
in a game anymore. Like, just
I'm
like
kind of with you.
learning and practicing, and like I just don't have the effort for it right now.
Oh, I know how you feel, man. Like this is why, like Celeste is a great game. If you do want to try it, even just as a casual
I've
run.
completed it, yeah.
Oh, have you completed Celeste? Oh, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough then. Because that was a game I was looking into speed running, and I like learned part of the first level basically, and there's like 7 or 8 levels.
Yeah.
Um, and it was tough, and I was like, and I just put it down. I was just like, you know what? I don't think I can actually. I don't know if I want to do this. I fucking loved the game. It was amazing. The speedrun tech in it is really interesting, and the routing is reasonably interesting. Like it's got a lot of the elements I like, but I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if I can learn it. So yeah, I know what you mean, man. Um, like with Dark Souls 3, it's more like I'm playing it at the minute with that mindset because I don't know, it helps me play it. Like playing it casually and thinking about how awesome it could be to try and run it is helping me motivated to keep playing it.
Nothing else will.
Yeah, well, because at the minute, like I love the mechanics of Dark Souls, but again, like I don't know. When Dark Souls 1 came out, I was just in a better place where I had more time to like enjoy the world and be like, this is really interesting. And they were like I don't know, it captivated me. And Dark Souls 3 has not yet captivated me, but because the mechanics are good and because like the level design is quite interesting, like I'm continuing to go into it. Like, but it's a very technical mindset. But I don't know. I think as we get older, we get more cynical like that, and like picking up any game now is hard. I've got a few games from the most recent Steam sale which I haven't even started.
Well, that's why I wanted to do the stream thing, is because I know I've got like a whole host of games that I want to get through, but will just like probably never will, because like they've been sitting on my games list for so long.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna try and get through like one or two.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and honestly, and this hurts me to say it because I'm still like in love with the game, as it were. Like one day I've got to drop StarCraft 2, and
yes, to get back my time.
Yeah, because especially being part of a clan, which I am now, and I'm going to Epic Clan just in a couple of weeks, as I mentioned at the start. We are like, there's just so much time put into it, and there are other games I want to play, and not only other games I want to play. There are times when I don't really even, not so much I don't want to play StarCraft, but StarCraft is like the default thing I go to.
Yeah.
Because I've got an hour here now, so you know what? Let's put on StarCraft because that's a good way to spend an hour. When I could, if I put on the first hour of a game, it's effort because I've got to learn it, but the experience is often so good normally. But I've got that default option right there. Yeah, it's painful, and there's so many RPGs I've got, and it's not only StarCraft now because I'm really into Dragon Ball Fighters as well, which is a great and fun game. And I'm nowhere near as hardcore or serious about it. But how many hours have I got on that now? I think I've got around 90 now, but which isn't actually that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But
I think I'm there with you though. Like, even though I love StarCraft, like I absolutely love it, and I will like play it to death, I feel like I need to take a step back from it and like stop spending so much of my time and stop thinking of it as, oh, I've got an hour, let's play StarCraft, because it is one of those things that it's so easy to like just drop in a game and then just play StarCraft for like 5 hours, but then like you've got so much other shit going on.
Yeah, and yeah. And I've said this before. I started doing this, and I think I've told you about this like a year ago. Oh, do you know where I'm going with this? Which is just like I did an enjoyment graph basically. So it was. Oh, are you okay there, Jorah? I will keep talking because I'm assuming.
I'm just going to check
what yeah. I'll keep talking. What ended up happening was I did an enjoyment graph of StarCraft. I can't remember exactly how these went now, but in short, it was how much time I spent on it and how much happiness and enjoyment I got out of it. And what I ended up discovering was that at any point after like about 2.5 hours, I would not get more enjoyment. I'd already reached like peak enjoyment at that point. Sometimes I'd switch it on and I'd have like 2 or 3 amazing games in the first hour and I'd have like a really high level of enjoyment. And then I'd like lose a lot and I'd have a low level of enjoyment and I would come off feeling worse for it. But like it got to a point where regardless of how long I played for, I couldn't reach that peak enjoyment of like winning a few really good games. If once I won a few really good games in StarCraft, I should switch it off basically, because winning a few good games and then losing a bunch and then winning again, I don't get back to that enjoyment level. And the only reason I play it so much now is because I am part of a clan, and I've actually told them after LAN I might take a week or two, break or step back. Like I don't really want to stop playing at all, but trying to get better in StarCraft is incredibly time consuming and quite frustrating at times. And I honestly think some of the people who play it have an unhealthy um like attitude with it. Like, fair enough, if that is your one hobby, if you don't play many video games, and StarCraft is like your one video game that you want to play, and you're not interested in RPGs or playing, sitting down with a controller and having like a story, fair enough, I get you if you just want your multiplayer fix. But mate, I love RPGs. I love these other types of games which require time to get the enjoyment out of, and in the grand scheme of things, it's like a fraction of the time. Like the thousands of hours I've put into StarCraft, like the amount of really good stories that I could have experienced and games I would have loved and that I haven't. It's like, yeah, I don't regret any of the time I put into StarCraft, but some of the raids that I've had from it, and some of the like opportunities I've missed out on because of it, like not being part of what's like currently out right now and being part of the conversation of games that are being played. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting subject, and I one day want to catch up with being things like, I'm an adult now. I have disposable income, as they say. Like I can buy the latest games and keep up with it, but if I wasn't playing StarCraft, so that's a great debate, and I don't know if Joro's here to defend himself now, but even
Hello.
as there you are back. Like I remember when Joro had you had about maybe 1800, 1900 like games on your account on StarCraft, and you asked me to pick a number between 2000 and 3000,
Yeah,
and
I
that was the
remember this.
point. And that was the point where you were going to start playing, and I deliberately picked 2,999 or whatever. But yeah, and I saw that the other day because I realized that I'm coming up to 11,000 ranked games on my main StarCraft account, and that was with a year, like a good part, like a year and a half, where I was just playing unranked because I stopped playing ranked for a long time. So, and I have an NA account which I don't use very often, to be fair, but that's got like 1,000 games on it as well. Like, that's a lot of fucking games.
Yeah, that was the point in my life where I was like really enjoying StarCraft. I was like really passionate about it, but I wasn't in a good headspace with it because
Fair.
like I felt like it was sapping so much of my time
Yeah.
basically. I felt like I needed that time back in my life, so I was just like, okay, I need to stop playing this game. So like I need someone to like set a limit on like how many games I can play, like just to have
Yeah.
that out, like that person outside myself who can say stop after this point. It's basically like I can't remember what they call it, like a sponsor, I guess, when you're trying to stop drinking or drugs, or
Oh,
when,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think like because I did take quite a big break from StarCraft 2
Yeah.
for like a year and a half, 2 years, just but the bad thing is it wasn't a choice. It was just because I lost passion for it
Mm.
when Legacy of the Void, not Legacy of the Void, Heart of the
Heart of the
Swarms
Swarm.
was
Yeah.
on, like it was that expansion, and like the initial hype like had died down, and I was still,
Swarm hosts.
yeah, like I can't. It was like a combination of things. Like it was a combination of things of like the 3 hour Swarm host games
God damn it.
combined with like the seasonal ranking of like I was a top diamond player at the time, but every season I was demoted to gold.
Oh yeah, I can't. I
Yeah,
remember when they
because they
did that.
screwed with the ladder,
Oh
and
my
and
god, yeah,
then
that was.
like it was that on top of the swarm host, on top of like the maps being absolutely horrific to play, And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the game felt like the game was in such a stale place because they wouldn't balance patch anything. So like because they were like, oh, it's just part of the meta, it's just part of like the way that you need to learn. And like it went from that into like overpatching. So like every week it was like a new learning experience.
Yeah.
And oh man, it just like after a while it was like I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. And then I just like I think like I played one game and like I think I won and I felt zero satisfaction.
Oh man, brutal.
Yeah, and that was it. I knew as soon as I closed down that game, it was not getting restarted.
Damn, mate, I haven't had that, but I know I know what you feel. The bit that makes me feel closest to not switching it back on is when, and I'm kind of getting to this point now. I'm not quite there yet because I'm actually getting a lot better recently, um, and that is the bit where I'm just like, okay, these players are now so good that I'm facing. I don't want to. I don't want to struggle and do everything perfectly just to have a chance to win. Do you know what? It's not. It's like
Yeah,
not that to
I
me.
get it because like the place that like I guess you and I have been at has been like kind of competitive and fun, but
Yes.
more like you can still have a lot of fun with the game without being like mechanically perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can like still screw around a lot and just like
Yeah.
experiment with builds, experiment with units and stuff. And the thing is like we could probably cross that threshold if we like really buckle down.
Yep.
But like crossing that threshold, it's just like okay, after this threshold, like you can
Well,
do
yeah.
nothing wrong, and that's just
Yeah.
like really uninteresting. It's like a really mentally challenging game at that point.
Man, and yeah, it really is brutal. And like, so I've been, for example, I've been practicing with a 5.1k Zerg, um, a lot to try and get like double Stargate Phoenix down, which is what I do in PvZ now, which is really fun. It's a really good build. It's really fun. It's really safe. Or like, it's a legit sort of style. Um, and again, it's just brutal because now I lose to him like every game when I try and do it properly because I can't harass and do the build properly, and then he's so good that his macro will just crush me. There's no like actual game there at that point. Or I won't do the harass and I'll do the build perfectly, but then he hits so fucking quickly. He hits like a full minute then faster than if I do something. But then I'll play against people on ladder who won't do that because they are worse than him. They're not as good. But I get less satisfaction from winning because I know that they should be able to kill me because I'm not doing this good enough. And that's a weird feeling. It's not like the complete zero satisfaction like you said, but it is like this, like when I'm just that aware of how easy it is for a better player to take advantages of like how I'm making mistakes because I am trying to get better. It's like a weird headspace. I don't like it very much.
Yeah.
And again, because the problem is once I get to that point, then I'll be facing 5.5k players to like try and figure out how to beat
Beat
them,
them, yeah.
and it just never stops.
One thing
And
that's given me a lot of enjoyment, I don't know
oh,
if you've seen it, but Vibe did quite a
oh, what
few
like
videos.
bronze to GM? Don't tell me it's that.
Yeah, it is bronze to GM.
Okay.
But basically, his rule is that he will play um, the way that he thinks that level of player will play. So
Oh,
he'll actually
interesting.
like he'll intentionally miss macro cycles and
Oh,
like miss pylons, miss depots and stuff, so that
that,
he shows you like he goes for this like really macro heavy style, and he's like, so what we're going to do is just harass the tiniest amount and just focus all of our attention on being the best macro player possible. So basically, like I think the first time he ever harasses is in like Diamond 2 or something. And even
Oh,
then,
okay.
like when I say harass, I mean he'll send a bunch of Hellions to like go kill like 2 probes. And then he's
Yeah.
just like, okay, the rest of it he's just going to like get 3 or 4 bases. And like my enjoyment of the game has just going on to StarCraft, playing like 2 games like Vibe does, and it's actually really fun. Like,
Okay, that's really interesting. I've heard about his series, and I have to admit, I don't really like bronze to GM challenges, and I think it's really
yeah, I think
silly.
most of the time it's just like GM players just smashing down
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the lower
But
leaguers, and you don't really learn a lot because it's just
but
like,
no,
well,
that
if you play like me and they're like doing 300 actions per second and like building
yeah,
everything perfectly, and it's just like, well, this is dumb.
yeah, and but that Vibe series sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I
But
highly suggest it.
I know exactly what you mean. Like because I'm trying to learn Double Target Phoenix, somebody got me some parting replays of him doing it, and it's just fucking hilarious. Like you watch the control on that Oracle and Phoenix that go in at like when that first timing is, and how he fucking it's immaculate. It's unbelievable. I'm just like, this is like this isn't a build. This is like it's the difference between reading a recipe in a thing and then watching Gordon Ramsay fucking cook. I was just like, what? This isn't. That just doesn't happen. You don't fly in and there's 2 queens and a spore and you lift 1 queen and still get 4 drones and get out with everything. I'm
Yeah,
like, what?
this is what I hate about like builds that are written down sometimes when they're like, "Oh yeah, do the innovation build," and it's like whatever
Yeah,
supply depot, and it's like whatever supply barracks, and then build 2 more racks and get this, and like then attack, and it's like, but in innovations, actual replay where they're taking this build, he's like dropping, he's like harassing here,
yeah,
harassing there. It doesn't really come across when you're like, all right, 23 supply depot, like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
these people that you're stealing these builds from are like at the highest level of play, and they're like doing like 50 things at once, and you're just not capable of doing those sorts of things. And this is like, as I say, this is why I think Vibes series is really good, because he's just like,
mm,
forget all of that, like, because like only
yeah.
because as we've said on this podcast like a bajillion times, and as people say all the time, like balance in StarCraft 2 means absolutely zero unless you are in the top 10% of people. And that is
That's
like,
being generous, I think.
that is being really generous. And that is like top 10 GM to professional level StarCraft. Balance means absolutely diddly squat to anyone playing the game
Yeah, below that. Yeah, yeah,
below that.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's yeah. I'm pretty much completely with you because it is, and to put it the way I like processed it, like that replay I was then telling you about, for example, right? I was like, if I was an Archon with myself, I couldn't do what he was doing. It was at that level. There was that much difference between us. It was like
I just
even if
love
I.
that you made that analogy.
Yeah, yeah. If it was me doing perfect macro and then another me who was trying to micro it, I couldn't consistently do that. I might be able to do it once, a real skin on my teeth sort of a thing, but like I couldn't consistently do it. Not every game. Like I obviously practice and maybe, but and let alone do everything at the same time as one person. Like, yeah, crazy man.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, the Archon.
So you get to Archon with anyone in the world. Who do you want to Archon with? Myself.
Of course. What, you saying you wouldn't Archon with yourself?
Oh man, you don't want double the amount of this shit.
Mate, I'd be the best Archon with myself because I know what I want to do. It's genius.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I don't enjoy Archon that much. I've been playing Archon with some people.
I've literally never played Archon mode because I know I'd hate it.
It's good in there are 2 or 3 scenarios where it's really good. It's if you're playing with a really bad player, and they're letting you do your build, and then they're advising you, and they're saying, "Oh, I just did this bit for you because you forgot a pylon or something." That can feel quite nice. And when you're doing like off the walls kind of crazy shit, like basically troll shit, where it's just like, okay, these guys are really awful. We can actually just like dance around and mess about. That's not too bad, even though that's obviously awful for the other people. And I've been the other person when they're getting dunked on as well. So yeah. But yeah, so getting dunked on, dunked. But yeah, aside from that, like I was playing one the other day and we were random. It was with that 5.1k Zerg, real nice guy. And we were going Terran. We were against 2 master players who were Archoning, so we knew it'd be pretty serious. And he wanted to go mech, and we did go mech in the end. And I was just like, I can't do anything because he was the macro player for that. And I was just like, well, I can't really do anything because it's mech. Like we just sit here, and then he came with a bunch of Vipers and thing, and it was like awful. So, but there's like internal conflict. Like you don't get internal conflict when you want to do something in StarCraft. You're like, I'm going to do this build, and maybe it was a terrible build, but you wanted to do it, so it was okay. But yeah, Archon is like a weird thing. The potential of it is great. I do wish there was like more pro level Archon stuff. Because I think the potential of the game, like, could be like,
it would be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, you'd see stuff that like, because in theory, there's nothing that isn't viable in 1v1, but there might be stuff that's viable in Archon that's not viable in 1v1.
Yeah.
Like,
to be honest, like, I'd love to, like, I know it wouldn't be as competitive as the 1v1, but I'd love for, like, at tournaments for there to be more, like, what do they call it? Like show
matches?
Show matches, yeah. Of like 2v2s.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Archon modes.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like StarCraft, like pro StarCraft scene has being like getting better and better and better. But like they just don't, like, it feels like they just don't have fun with it anymore.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like it's what it's doing is like it's trying to emulate sports.
Yes.
When it's just like, this isn't sports. Like these are people who have grown up like really enjoying playing a game with their friends. Let them play the game with their friends. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's why I enjoy Home Story Cup the most.
Oh,
generally.
Home Story Cup is great, yes.
Yeah, because it has that spirit of just a bunch of nerds sitting around playing their game and having a laugh, like drunk half the time. Like it's not a serious thing, even though the people playing it are serious. They're there to win money and stuff, but it's also like a party. Like that's what it is. Yeah, and I think that's a great thing. But yeah, like some of it, and that's where you get hype casting and stuff. Like I kind of like that hype casting has died down in the last few years.
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
Like casters, like especially like ones like In Control, they really know the fine balance to like call a match early sometimes.
Yeah,
and I think it's really good they do. Let's not forget the Fear Dragon In Control clip. Oh no, I think you might have a chance, Jeff. And it's like, what?
That was awful.
This game is over, and it was over. So
yeah. I think like that's just a remnant of the old times when like the casters tried their best to like hold out hope for each player until the end.
Yeah.
But it was just like everyone knew this person is dead, but no one would say it because they were like, oh, if he does like this, and the opponent made this mistake, like they still have a chance. And,
yeah.
None of that comes off, and it's like, well, that was a pointless like branch of dialogue. And
I think part of the reason why is because in in other games. Like MOBAs have comeback mechanics, which are
Yes.
much stronger than StarCraft, and especially fighting games. Fighting games have the God, I had a really good term for this, and I can't remember it now. But like RTS has a cumulative factor to it. If you have a good early game and a good mid game, even if you fuck up a bit in the late game, you're still probably ahead. But in fighting games, you can be one hit away from death and then reverse perfect your opponent. That's completely viable, and it happens. And those games are fucking hype as hell.
Call out to Evo right there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
mate.
Evo 04 or something.
Fuck that fucking
Ken versus Chun-Li.
yeah, yeah.
That is like, if no one has saw that clip, oh my god, please search it, because that is like the greatest fucking thing. Where some guy just blocks like a 14 combo Chun-Li
Yeah.
fucking kick. And he just
Super, yeah.
like he is one punch away from fucking dying.
And the fucking crowd loses their shit.
Yeah, I don't think it was
Amazing.
Ken. I think it was Ryu, but whatever.
It was one of the main sort of characters. Yeah, man. And again, you get such an appreciation for playing the games as well. Like, I still don't, like, I've seen that clip analyzed, and people talk about why it was so amazing, because the input frame to like block those attacks is really precise. You can't just like hold back or like mash back or mash block or whatever. It doesn't work. You have to like know when they're coming in, know what sort they are, and then do it from there. But like with Dragon Ball Fighters, for example, man, that game is so difficult to like defend. Like the offensive options are really strong in that game. And there's a match, Leffen versus Goichi, and this is like in the round of 48 at a tournament. Like it's a real like low level round, and Goichi is the favorite, but Leffen has like been this like god killer all the way through it, and they just have the most ridiculous match where like it gets like Leffen is so fucking good at pressure and getting on, and Goichi just like holds on like an unbelievable amount. God damn, I'm gonna send you that game. You don't have to watch it, but yeah, like, and again, that was actually one of the games that like really got me into continuing to play Dragon Ball Fighters, because I'd already kind of had my fun with it, and then I watched that and I was like, yeah, I want to have more of this, because god damn,
I want
it's so
more
good.
fun.
Yeah, I want more fun, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, is that a crime?
one game that I'm having a lot of fun with at the minute is Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Oh, I've got
Because
that
like
as well.
a lot of people at work have got it, and like they're bringing in their Switches, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, we're getting like real like 5-person battles going, and
Nice.
yeah, it's really fun. But it's like it's a good solo game as well. Like the spirits mode is awesome. Like I've not played for the online yet, so I'm not like online fighting.
I haven't played online yet either, actually. I've just been playing versus AI, and that game is like surprisingly difficult.
Oh god, yes.
Like I did not realize how difficult it was to like actually just run up to somebody and hit them and connect like your attacks like you mean it. And god damn, would they put? I wish you could smash attack differently. I really struggle between tilt attacks and smash attacks. Maybe that's because I'm new to the series, but man, that's really difficult. Yeah, but it's a really fun game. Well, who do you main? Do you have a main in Smash?
So
Is that a difficult
this is
question?
really embarrassing, but basically I like anyone with a sword.
Hey, I don't mind that. Lucina, you my girl Lucina.
I want to main like one of the links.
Okay, yeah, fair.
But I haven't actually unlocked any of the links in the spirits mode. So right now, as of this recording, I am maining the Mii sword fighter.
Oh yeah, you
and
mentioned
I have
that.
no embarrassment.
Nah, man, those Mii fighters are apparently really good. I haven't tried them, but
The Mii sword fighter is fucking amazing. Like all of his attacks I think are really good. Like I think what I dislike about some of the other fighters that I have, I have quite a few now, but like take Mario for example. Like all of his, like he's like a really close range fighter, but I don't think
Yeah.
he's very strong for some reason. Like, and I don't like some of his smash attacks. Like the cape smash is really
Oh, yeah.
weird, and his flood
Oh, I don't actually know
smash.
what that does
I
exactly.
don't know what it does either, and I'm really confused by it. Like, I don't really understand his character in that game and why they
Yeah.
gave him those two smash attacks because they feel really dumb.
I think it's I've heard him described as a character as an all-round character basically. So that he can kind of do anything, but he's not like particularly good at
Anything,
anything.
yeah, that any one
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I've heard like he's like one of those players where he's like one of those players characters that basically reflect your skill in the game. Like
Oh,
if
okay.
you're good at the game, then you're probably good at playing Mario.
Fair, fair.
But he's a very like um beginner's character, I guess.
Yeah. He's not super technical, but can do kind of everything you need to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you're like really good at the game, then you want like really technical characters.
Yeah.
Whereas I think me sword fighter,
I will give me Sword Fighter a go.
yeah, like
Me
all of his
Brawler is
attacks are
crazy.
like really fucking good. Like,
Nah, that's fair.
his up smash is like one of the best attacks I've seen so far, where he just like swipes up with the sword and like then plummets down with the sword, and if you can like hit them on the way up, then you're bound to hit them on the way down
Wait,
because like
down.
it stuns them for a time. Like he has the tornado, he has like the side smash where he spins in a ball. Yeah, like
Nice,
all
nice.
his attacks
I
are actually useful.
I will try him out, man. I'm trying to think who I main. I've been going through a few. Oh, Ryu. I actually really like Ryu in it. Partially because he turns to face the opponent regardless, and I for some reason end up running up to a lot of people and then end up turning and facing the other way around. I don't know how I keep managing to do that.
Brilliant.
Um, so I like Ryu. I like Lucina. I know she's basically Marth, but like they have some different damage values. But Lucina is pretty good. Zero Suit Samus. Oh yeah,
All right.
I'm all about that fanciness. I'm like, all right, let's like up kick you into the air, up kick you, and now up smash, and you like drive them right up to the top of the screen. Oh, it's fucking amazing.
To be
She
fair,
cannot.
I have not played Zero Suit Samus or Samus.
She
Like Metroid
super.
Samus.
Yeah, she's like super light. I haven't played the regular Samus, but like the Zero Suit Samus, I unlocked her, and I was like, oh, I try and try the characters that I unlock, and I was like, oh, okay, and I was like, whoa, she's really quick, and she's like got these like kicks. She has really far grab range as well.
I'll have to try her out. Like I remember
Yeah.
trying like a few characters when I first initially bought the game. Like I tried Sheik and Zelda. Like
Oh,
Sheik I
I haven't
find
unlocked
really
Sheik.
weird. Sheik is really hard to control. I think she's
I
like
haven't unlocked
super
her. Damn.
technical. Zelda is just shit. I think like I tried Peach. Peach is really bad. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. Like Pac-Man I tried, but I felt that he would like all of his attacks are like really strange. Apart from like his ultimate smash, which is like amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's the most ridiculous. Like it is the most ridiculous move in the game.
I've seen it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff. I see why you like the sword fighters though, because their attacks make like a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh, Donkey Kong, my boy Donkey Kong, mate, he's ridiculous. Like got those clap hands going on. He just like you like look in a direction, clap, and they're fucking gone. Amazing shit. I do like my Donkey Kong. He was a surprise. I do like Link as well. Because he has the bombs that go off.
Yeah, yeah.
And
the Breath of the Wild Link.
yeah, yeah.
He's really
Like
fun to play.
once you get used to using the arrows and the bombs, like he's got so many tools.
Yeah, yeah. He's pretty cool. I think like the one attack that I don't like for him, for some reason his up smash, like unless you jump with it, it doesn't like
Oh, go off the floor, does it?
yeah, it doesn't
He,
go
he, like,
off the
spins on
floor. So like if unless you're like super close to someone,
Yeah, you've got no movement with it.
Yeah, you've got no
Yeah,
movement with his up smash, and it feels really weird
yeah,
because like comparing that with the Mii sword fighter, like his up smash has like a lot of movement to it, and you can like kind of persuade it, I like to call it, with the joystick, whereas like Link's up smash you can't do
yeah. You're on
anything
the
as
spot.
soon as you're into like the spinning attack. Like that's it, like you can't move.
Yeah. Oh
So I'm
man.
like like with that Link I'm trying to like constantly jump and then up smash, but like you can
Yeah.
never get that off.
Yeah, it's difficult. Um. Oh, and Inkling. Inkling was the other one I want to give a shout out to. I don't understand the whole fascination between a squid and a kid, but that Inkling character is really good as well. Sonic was a huge disappointment.
I haven't played Sonic yet.
Man, Sonic would be great, but the big problem with it, and this is a problem with Smash, like the engine in general, I think in Smash, or it's a design choice maybe. It's that Sonic is really fast at running, right? As you would
Well,
expect, he's a
duh.
fast moving character, yeah. But as soon as he jumps, he loses all his momentum.
Oh.
So you look like you can run and jump across like a 20-foot pit or whatever, but you jump and you instantly are like a quarter of your speed. You're like jumping like like a speed of a normal character,
That's
and it's
weird.
really like I cannot get used to it. Um, so like that was disappointing. It was like anytime he like jumps, like everything is so slow. He might be too hard to control, honestly, if he kept all his speed. And he could like jump ridiculous distances, which might be broken. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Kirby can like jump like a million times in the air, so it
Yeah, I
wouldn't
don't
be
know how
that
Kirby works.
broken.
But yeah, I haven't done. I've pretty much only been doing Smash battles. I haven't done like any of the World of Light stuff. I haven't done like any of the actual other content. I've just been like messing about with Smash battles. Like when I have 10, 15 minutes, just pick up my Switch. Do it. I love the portability of it. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. The portability of the Switch really sold it to me. The fact that I can like just like pick it up out of the dock and like just walk around with it and stuff. Because like the greatest thing is like you can just like carry it into the toilet and like just
Yeah,
like
no, honestly, that's a good thing to have. Like, I'm completely with you, man. I like when I first heard about it, I thought it was a fucking weird idea, but I think it's a genius. I did not
yeah,
appreciate
it's
it
like
until I.
it's literally like you've got 5 minutes and you need to like travel somewhere. Just like bring the Switch. Like,
Yeah. Oh man, that's some good shit. Oh,
oh, cool. So we've been talking for 3 hours.
has it been 3 hours? Oh my god, yeah, it's nearly 11. Holy shit.
So I'm gonna finish off the podcast and then
Yeah.
probably talk to you a little bit and then go to
Yeah.
sleep. It's
Yeah.
been
Sounds good.
wonderful
And anyone
doing
who
this
sat
podcast with you. Next
yeah,
time, let's talk StarCraft.
yeah, we'll go back to StarCraft stuff.
As soon as they fucking announce like the tournament structure for this year,
Yeah,
let's
that
talk
we
StarCraft.
can. Yeah, that'll be handy.
I think just like on ending note for this podcast, I really like for Blizzard to actually announce that because it worries me that like what they did for Heroes will happen to StarCraft, but I don't think that will happen.
Yeah, there have been WCS qualifiers. I know people who have played in them, so there's
Yes.
definitely been.
So there's definitely
qualifiers.
StarCraft happening this year. It would be very, very dumb for them to take StarCraft away because the
Absolutely.
Overwatch scene is not that big right now. That's all I'm saying. Because like, that's what everyone is saying is like they cancelled Heroes because they want to put
Oh,
eggs in one basket with the Overwatch League, and I just don't see it happening for StarCraft. I just don't.
fair.
No, because StarCraft is such a bigger game
Yeah.
than Overwatch.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't know what viewership numbers are like, but StarCraft has been really good in the last like 2 years, especially. It's actually grown significantly.
Yeah, they would be so like they'd be idiotic to like cancel StarCraft.
Yeah, I think honestly, and I think I may have said this to you last year, but I think this year, like 2019 and 2020, are pretty much guaranteed full on WCS, full on everything.
Oh yeah.
2021 is where we might start to see a drop off. But I'm
Well,
fully expecting
I
to go in there.
think 2021 is probably when they'll announce like a StarCraft 3 or like
Oh,
StarCraft's
that'd be
like next
interesting.
expansion or something.
Yeah, maybe we will see.
Yeah, because I think at
Halt,
that
watch
point
this
like
space.
interest would have like dipped.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Oh.
Anyway, thanks for
Yeah.
listening to the podcast. I'm going to
Shit.
end the stream there. Thank you for watching.